to come through. And once he comes through, we can still have the debate, have the discussion. So whoever wants to like to come up can come up. I did have Joe in the comments ask me what the skin color have to do with it. I'm just waiting for him to come up so we can talk. How's it going? I'm sorry, is your name Joe?
Yeah.
All right, Joe, how's it going? Are you at least 18, and are you a Christian, Muslim, or Hebrew Israelite?
I am.
Which one?
Say again. Sorry, I was just putting my earphone.
No, all good. Just 3 questions. Are you at least 18? Christian,
Yep.
Hebrew Israelite, or Muslim? And are you a black person?
Christian.
Christian. 18?
Yes, I did say yeah.
Black?
Yes.
And a black person. Okay, cool, great. Not a problem. All right, so yeah, I don't believe, and my co-host will join me in a moment. We don't believe that black people should be Christian because of it was the religion of our enslavers, and it was used to colonize and oppress us, and the way that Christianity is ran in the West simply perpetuates white supremacy. Do you disagree?
Well, that's your belief. I think you're wrong.
Okay, sure.
Because
Why?
slavery existed before Christianity came to Africa.
Yeah. I didn't doubt that. That's my point.
So what was your point then? I still don't understand why you would say what colors got to do with.
How did we get Christianity in Africa? Besides Ethiopia, because people love to go to that. But besides Ethiopia, how did it get to Central and Western Africa? Through colonialism, correct?
No missionaries.
No, colonialism. That's how we got it.
No.
Yes.
If you read the historical account, or if you listen to the people who are on the ground, they do tell you how the missionaries first of all came about, and then after the missionaries sent the report back, that's when now you had the people who are funding the missionaries wanting to come in and take over and control the resources because they have had the report from the missionaries.
That's incorrect.
But the
missionaries weren't the first one that went to Africa, bro. The people who went to Africa first were Portuguese merchants. They weren't missionaries.
Yeah.
They were businessmen. Yeah. They were businessmen and they were conquerors. Hold on. The first people who came into Central and Western Africa were not the missionaries. They were businessmen. They were merchants and they were conquistadors, conquerors. It wasn't the missionaries. Okay. So the way that we got Christianity in Central and Western Africa wasn't through missionary work. It was through colonizers.
Okay. So I am originally from East Africa.
Which part?
Kenya.
Kenya, yeah. So like we know that Ethiopia had Christianity, right? But when it first reached to Kenya, who were your the first colonizers to reach Kenya? Was it the English or the Portuguese? The Portuguese?
The Portuguese in the coast.
The Portuguese in the coast. Okay, cool. I know the Portuguese were over on the west coast, but over on the eastern part of the continent, was it the English or the Portuguese?
It was the English.
The English. Okay, cool. So the English that got there, they weren't the missionaries, bro. The English were the merchants.
Not based on the historical accounts of the people that tell the stories of what has been passed down in that time. They tell their accounts of their forefathers, so who we would call our ancestors, that based on even the seers of that time, what they had seen and what came about was first of all missionaries, and then after that it was followed by colonialism. So I suppose you can see where, for me, I would ask that question: why would you say black people should not be Christian? Because based on the historical account of my people, the missionaries took their time to learn the language, to translate the Bible for the people that were there, and actually helped some of them actually escape from being enslaved. They're the ones who made them wise as to the tricks of the business people that wanted to enslave people without them knowing that they are actually going to end up in a slave ship and be sent off. So that's completely missed from the picture. So you can't just paint. I don't disagree with you that they used Christianity to really enslave people, and you can use any faith, Christianity, Muslim, to cause people to just feel like they're inferior. So they're Joe, not even human.
Joe, I got you. Let's go back to the first people who were on the coast of Kenya. You said that the people who first came to Kenya were not the merchants. It was missionaries, because that goes completely against even the European historical record. So when you say that according to the Kenyan historical record, it was missionaries, but the European historical record says merchants, doesn't that mean that they might have told you something that was wrong and that was written down?
Well, I can only go with what has been passed down.
I get that, yes, but the question is, Joe, is that why do two different sources have two different the stories? The Europeans themselves says that it was merchants who got to Kenya, not missionaries. So how come the Kenyans have missionaries coming? Something is wrong.
Okay.
Right? Something is wrong, right?
I think you can argue something is wrong. All I'm saying is based on your tag, yeah. Even if we have the discrepancies that you say, when you examine the text, it does. I don't see where color comes in, to be honest with you.
Because this is
if you're going to talk about slavery, before you already agreed that it was before.
It was, slavery did exist on the African continent before Christians got there. I'm not lying. I'm not denying that. But it's still a fact of reality is that Christianity got through to Africa through colonialism. Yeah. So before Kenya had Christianity, there was something else there, right? They were doing something else.
There was, yes.
Right. So the question then becomes, why give up or denigrate or demonize your entire spiritual heritage from some foreign things some white people gave us?
Okay, so you do realize that, for example, where Ethiopia is and the Ethiopia that is described in the text, that's not the border that was there. You do realize that.
I'm sorry, I understand what you mean by that. Say that again.
So the country of Ethiopia as it is today, the borders that we have, are not the same borders that are referred to
correct.
in the Bible.
Those were the borders today are what the Europeans gave us. Correct.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, when they did the scramble for Africa and just divided the territory.
Right. Correct.
According to what they wanted. So you also have to understand there is remnants. For example, there's a book by can't remember, but the book is called Eternity in Their Hearts. So this book goes back as to what did the people have before even Christianity was even arriving in these people. And what they do is they just get what was passed down for the different communities. And what you get to find, like even for my people, is that there was already, what would you call them? Well, people now call them witch doctors, but there were people who had already passed down the predictions of what was going to happen, which people were going to come and what they were going to bring. And the key thing was them bringing in the Bible, the revelation of what the people were seeking or hungry for. Now, that does not mean there wasn't other spiritual, ancestral worship, and some different kinds of sacrifices. But there's a common thread that there was a certain God that we were meant to worship, and we didn't have all the information.
Okay, so your claim now is that the spiritual tradition of Africa predicts that we're going to worship white people?
No, where's the white people worshiping coming from?
Jesus. The image of Jesus
is white.
The image of Jesus all over Africa is a white guy.
Jesus is white.
No, he's not.
But you.
So the image.
Hold
on.
You know that's not correct.
I know it's not correct, but that's the image all around Africa. We both know that.
Okay.
Right. So you're literally worshiping a white guy. And the thing
That's
is
the
though, how do
image
we
that
know?
the white
And the
man
thing is
created.
though, my other question would be, is that why would Christianity be the thing that was predicted to come and not our own spiritual tradition? Why would it be Christianity?
Because God is the one who designed it that way.
How do you know that?
So because the proximity, exactly. If you look at
Joe,
let me
ask this question. How do you know that Christianity is true? Because we can't go back in time to see Jesus rise from the dead, right? So it becomes a question on how do we know that one is actually true? Because apparently a lot of the stories are not true. Like, do you take Jonah in the well to be a serious story or something more allegorical?
I take it to be a real story, a real account of something that happened.
You take someone being swallowed by a whale to be something that actually happened.
Yes.
You realize that that's not possible to happen, right? Because the throat of a whale is way too small for a human to fit in. Like the throat of a whale is the size of this cap. Like it's way too small for a person to fit into. So Jonah is obviously something that didn't happen, right? It's more about procrastination and not following what you're supposed to follow, stuff like that. It's not an actual literal story.
Do you know the definition of parables?
It's not your turn. So yeah, Jonah in the well is not a literal story. It's allegorical, right?
No.
You think it's a literal story?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's not. It's not a literal story.
Okay. That's how you choose to understand it, based on your own human understanding. What we have to understand is that God is not a human being. So if obviously, Volcy, we cannot come to that understanding that God is not the same as we are, and he can be able to do things that for us completely do not make sense. The same thing like when we talk about somebody walking on water, feeding 5,000 men with 5 loaves and 2 fish, healing somebody with edema or with the issue of blood, raising the dead. All those are not natural things, are not things as human beings can be able to look at and say, oh, we can be able to understand and make sense of that. That's why we have room for belief. And that's why when you ask me about the story of Jonah,
so the question
I may not be able to explain to you in a human sense and say,
so Joe,
the whale and the size and the human being was there for 3 days.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
The question is, how do you actually know this is true? That's the question. Because like Christianity is not the only one that has legendary stories. I'm pretty sure you know about the legendary stories in African traditional religion before Christianity came through. So the question then becomes, why is Christianity the right one and our own traditions are wrong? Why would that be the case?
It's only because when you examine the evidence of Jesus Christ, that's the only thing.
Jesus,
you have to
Jesus being a real person is fine, right? Jesus being a real person is fine. Paul being a real guy is fine. The question is, did he actually have powers? That is not an evidence. That's just part of the story.
It's not part of the story. It is part of the historical evidence of the things that happened.
What historical evidence do we have that Jesus had powers? What historical evidence do we have of that?
Well, we have the antiquities of the Jews. We have the mentions in the Talmud, and the records that are recorded about, like the Rabbi Hillel and the grandson Gamaliel, and that connection for him training Paul. All of those are connections that we can be able to trace in history.
Those are connections that say that Jesus was a guy, but it's not that he had powers. They all said that, yeah, he was a guy, but none of them said that he had actual powers. How do we actually show that powers exist? Like that's what we need to show. Like for Jesus to be plausible, we would actually have to show that the supernatural, the spiritual world is an actual real thing that we can detect, that we can know exist. And how do we do that?
Okay, Volcy, let me ask you the same thing I asked you before. Where do you leave room for faith? So there's only so much evidence you can be able to gather, but at a certain point, it won't be 100%.
Okay,
it will be at a point where you're like, that's it. It's just like how you are very convinced with your belief.
No, I got you. I understand that. I get the faith part, right? But this is where I would say that faith is unreliable, because like there were people who lived for thousands of years. The ancient Greeks, right? They had faith that Zeus was creating lightning by sitting on the mountain, and his Festus was building up his bolts and giving it to him. We know that's wrong, right? Lightning doesn't come from a guy sitting on a mountain throwing down bolts built by another guy. That's not true. But they had faith in it. They had so much faith in it that the thing that we still do today came from them, the Olympic Games. The Olympic Games is all about worshiping Zeus. But we still do that today, but we know that Zeus is not the person that we worship for this, right? It was just a sporting event. You know what I'm saying? So we still do it today, but they invented it in order to worship a guy. You know what I'm saying? But like what they were worshiping was absolutely wrong, but they had faith in it. So like when it comes to the question of faith, like I understand that, sure, like we can make some room for it. I think if we go down a whole list of things, there's going to be something that I'm probably going to have to take on. Okay, I don't have a lot of evidence on it. Is just faith, right? But is it reliable? That's the question that's going to be in question. How do we reliably depend on this thing that is essentially a coin flip? See what I mean?
Can I speak or is it not my turn?
Not your turn yet. You're in the queue.
Okay. No, I totally hear what you're saying, but everything that you have said falls down when we examine the evidence for Jesus Christ. So there's been like good books written by people who are former atheists investigating this. There's that book, what is it, Cold Case?
The Case for Christ.
Cold Case
Cold
Case Christianity.
Yeah. But Joe, like I want you to understand my position. I don't doubt that Jesus was probably a real guy. I don't doubt that part, right? It's the being the Son of God, walking on water. Those parts I don't take as seriously. And it's not just Jesus, it's other things in the Bible too. Like I said, I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure that David was a real guy, right? We have a historical record of David. He's in the record. So we know David existed, but did he actually cut off 1,000 foreskins? Did he actually fight like a 9-foot or 20-foot giant person? That's probably just legendary. You know what I mean? That's the part I'm talking about. Like, I don't doubt that he was probably a real person. Did he actually have the powers? That's what's in doubt, and we have no way to prove that part. You see what I mean? Like, I don't have any issue with Jesus being a real person.
But then the resurrection part, based on the materials that is readily available, shows that with like a high degree of confidence that actually this guy did rise again. And we have no way of explaining how that happened.
But Joe, there isn't. There's only stories. There's no evidence that this guy rose from the dead. None. There's only stories.
What's the greatest evidence that somebody rose again? What's the one thing that you won't find?
What's the only thing that you won't find?
It's a body.
Yeah, bro. That if you're gonna make that claim,
based on the history, based on the history we know about the Romans.
Joe, hold on. If you're going to make the claim that the greatest evidence someone rose from the dead is that you can't find a body, then my grandfather rose from the dead. Because guess what happens when I go to Haiti? His tomb is empty. So did my grandfather rise from the dead?
No, but in this case, we have people that say they saw Jesus Christ after that.
Right, but what I'm saying is that only comes from Paul. Only Paul says he saw Paul says that 500 people saw him. We have no idea who 500 people are. There's no records of them. There's nothing. It's only Paul that says that.
Okay.
Joe, go ahead and come on back another time. I do want to move on to the other people there.
No worries, I understand.
Yeah, I got you. But I do appreciate you being though. We could definitely talk more. All right.
All right. Cheers, bud.
Not a problem. All right, guys. Jazzy, it's gonna be your turn right now. Just give me 1 second. Hey guys, I appreciate you all being here. Anderson, I do see you in the chat right now. Just give me, or in the StreamYard. Just give me a few moments. I'm still waiting for Black Atheist Rants to join us. Black Atheist Rants is gonna be here soon. Once again, if you're watching me from the Deconstruction Junction, I appreciate you there. Go ahead and keep the conversation going. If you're watching me from Volcy Thoughts, I appreciate you there. Big one on those numbers today. I'm going to put up the gift goal up in a second. Thank y'all so much for being here. And if you're watching me over, like I said, on Deconstruction Junction, thank y'all so much. Y'all, I appreciate y'all. We're going to go ahead and move on to Jazzy. And then Heritage is going to be right after Jazzy. Let me start this clock over. Jazzy, are you at least 18? I'm sorry, Jazzy. Are you at least 18? Are you Christian, Muslim, or Hebrew Israelite? And are you a Black person?
Yes, I am over 18, and I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm a Christian, but I do believe in Yeshua, and I don't prefer to say my race.
Are you allowed to say nigga?
I mean, anybody could say it, but I'm not going to. So that gives you your answer.
Okay. On the United States Census, which one would you cross off?
Wait, say that one more time.
If you were to fill out the United States Census, which one would you be crossing off on the United States Census?
To be honest with you, I don't even know what that means.
Jesus fucking Christ. You've never taken the census for okay, never mind. Do you have my skin tone?
No.
All right, so you're not black. Cool. Actually, Jesus Christ. Were your ancestors from Africa?
Well, we all come from Africa, but
recently, do you come from a history where your ancestors were enslaved and brought to America or the Caribbean?
No.
Okay, cool. So you're not black. That's all you had to say is no, bro. That's all you had to say was no. All right.
No, I
so,
know, but
all right, so Jazzy.
Okay.
No, we didn't have to go through all this. All you had to say was no. All right. So Jazzy. Yeah, I don't think that black people should be Christian. Why do you think we should be?
I feel like, okay, first off, and I wanted to ask you this, and I'm gonna make it real quick because I know I got a time limit. What do you believe in?
I'm an atheist.
So what do you think happens when you die?
That's it.
So you think you go into a void?
Yeah, where our consciousness is it ends. We're gone. Unless they come up with cloning technology or brain mapping or something like that, then other than that, we're gone. Unless you think that consciousness is part of another dimension, then we need some evidence for that.
Well,
but
let me ask
right
you
now
this.
we're just
do you
dead.
think you were okay, I know I got you on that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you think that this is your first time being here? Like, this is just...
Yeah, as far as I know.
Of course, because just like when you wake up from a dream, right? So life is like a dream. Okay. Now, the reason why I'm going with this is Yeshua, you're talking about like superpowers, like walking on water, or turning water into wine and stuff like that. But when Yeshua came down, he was really teaching us how to be like God. You see what I'm saying? So we're all made in the image of God. And Yeshua is really trying to teach you that. So yes, I do believe that Yeshua is my savior. I do believe he died on the cross for our sins.
Okay, so you're a Christian.
But he was
so you're a Christian. All right.
Yeah,
here's the thing.
I am.
Here's the thing. Yahshua or Jesus or whatever. Sure, he could have existed as a real person, right? That's fine. The question then becomes, did he actually rise from the dead? Did he actually cure people, et cetera, et cetera? What evidence do we have that that's the case?
I believe he did. I do believe that he did because there's documented records on that.
No, there's not really a documented record that he rose from the dead. It's a story. Sure, we have a story in the Bible.
I'm not talking about rising from the dead, but yes, I do believe he rose from the dead. But I'm talking about like killing people and stuff like that and creating miracles. Yes, I do believe that is true.
There's no record of that too. But the thing is, there's no actual record of that. Only the Bible story.
Well, yeah, that's what the Bible is. Those are records.
The Bible is scripture. It's not really record. It's legendary stories. It's not really a record.
Well, no, that's why I was saying parables. Okay, because there's a thing that talks about parables. So like, yeah, there are some things like that might not necessarily happen, but it's in a parable.
Right. So like, I understand parables, right? I do get parables. Parables are essentially, stories that's supposed to be giving us an actual lesson. The people in it in the stories can be real or they can be false. I can make a parable right now with me and my dad, right? So my dad is a real person, right. I'm a real person, but the story that I put me and my dad in, is that story true? That would be the question. Now, when it comes to parables, we have modern day parables like Red Riding Hood and the Three Little Pigs. Those are modern day parables. So I understand that Jesus spoke in parables. I don't have an issue with that, right? I don't have an issue with Jesus being a real guy. Let's say he was. Is the powers actually real? That's where the question comes in.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Because
how do you actually prove that?
Well, there's obviously no way to truly prove it because we haven't been there in those times to see it or witness it. But there's people that can still do it in this day and age.
Still do what?
Say that one more time.
There are people who can still do what?
That create miracles. That can heal people.
All right. So why don't they work in St. Jude's Hospital and cure all the kids who have cancer?
Because it doesn't work like that. Because it doesn't work like to where you can just go up to any person and just be like, hey, here, boom.
Why not?
Because that's not how the universe works. The universe is full of chaos.
The universe isn't magic. Yeah, I agree. And light. I agree. The universe is not magic. I agree. So miracles are silly.
No, miracles are not silly because it actually does exist, but you can't just go out and just be like, here, miracle, 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 miracle. Like,
why not?
Because then you're not learning anything.
What do you mean you're not learning anything? What do kids who have cancer need to learn?
Listen, okay, let me ask you a question. And this is getting a little bit deep, and I'm not saying this is necessarily true, but if you were to like just done something crazy, like let's the files, right? That person that did the files, you know who I'm talking about. I don't want to get you banned or nothing, but you know who I'm talking about.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Okay, so if he were to die and then got reincarnated, what do you think will happen to him?
If he were to die and got reincarnated?
Do you think he would live a prosperous life, or do you think he would have
I don't know,
a life that he would probably have a messed up life? But listen, at the end of the day, see, now I don't believe in hell. I don't believe that somebody goes to hell and burns in all eternity, because that never gives you a chance to correct yourself. Everybody has a second chance. Everybody. And when I say everybody, I mean everybody. You can name the most wicked person here on this earth. Yes, they do. Chance.
Okay, yeah, I mean that's wonderful. That's great. That's great. That's a great belief. My only thing is that how do we now show this to be true? Because I've never heard of a Christian that believes in reincarnation. Like that's very rare. So that's really interesting. But how do we actually show that to be actually real, to be true? Because if there are miracles, that's fine that you believe there are miracles. Then cure the kids of cancer in St. Jude's Hospital. Give them a miracle.
But it doesn't work like that, because like I said, like the universe is full of chaos, so it can't, like, you have to have the dark and you have to have the light. So you're gonna have people that suffer and you're gonna have people that prosper. Like that's what makes duality. Like you can't
I don't know, man. Sounds like a cop
one
out.
without the other.
I don't know, man. Sounds like a cop out. What do kids of cancer need to learn? Like why do they need the cancer? I don't get that.
No, like, listen, okay, even a kid with cancer, if they die, they're going to be with the Most High again. So it looks rough here on the surface, but it's really not, though.
All right, so what if they're going to be
like, that's when you have to like go into a deeper thought of state of mind.
Jazzy, if they're going to be with the Most High again, then why let them suffer here on earth? Just make them be born in heaven. There's no point of making them suffer.
No, I agree with you on that, but there is, like, okay, the same way I told you I don't believe in hell, I don't necessarily believe in heaven per se the same way. Like just like here on earth, you either have hell or you have heaven. It's hard to explain, man, but
all right, so there's no
understand.
So there's no heaven.
Like,
all right, so there's no heaven or hell. It's just reincarnation. But the kids who have cancer necessarily needed to have the cancer to To what? I don't know what the end goal is here for those kids to suffer with cancer. What was the end goal? I don't get it. Sounds kind of messed up. So you're true.
Well, it's the same question. Like, yeah. Well, the same way that we butcher animals to eat them, right? And
That is
the
messed
same
up.
animals, like that's the cycle of life.
Mm-hmm.
It is messed up, but that's the cycle of life, and it just like not everything here on Earth can be perfect. That's the thing that you got to understand.
I'm not asking it to
Like
be
it's not
perfect.
necessarily saying like that's not what the Most High wants, but yes, it does occur, but that's what whole free will is and everything like that. So yes, there is going to be some messed up things that happen on this earth.
So kids who are
but that
born
doesn't
with
mean
so Jazzy, kids who are born with bone cancer use their free will to give themselves bone cancer. That sounds kind of silly.
no. See, you're not understanding it the way it's supposed to be.
Jesse, I get free will. I get the entire thing free will. I'm talking about things that are outside of our choices, like people being born with diseases. They didn't use their free will to do that. I can use my free will to put on this hat, right? Like, boom, free will, I put on a hat.
Okay.
I can use my free will to smoke cigarettes for 20 years and I get lung cancer. That was part of my free will. I'm talking about children who are actually born with diseases. How was that free will? They're just born with it.
Okay, so it's the same way with like planets. Okay, why is Earth the only one where life is formed? Right.
As far as we know,
it's just
that's as far as we know.
As far as we know, yes, I do. No, I'm not talking about the whole universe. I'm talking about in our solar system.
I got you.
So like what is it? Venus or Mercury, or I don't know if I got them mixed up. Mercury or Venus, whatever. There's no life on those planets.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same way with children. Like I told you, the universe is full of chaos. So there's both good and bad within the universe. There's life and death within the universe. So even if a kid has cancer and they end up dying, they're gonna die and then they're gonna have another life. Like it's not, you can't look at it like it's just so negative, like God just wants this person to suffer. That's not how it is.
All right, so
because life is like a glimpse.
Right. So these children are going to suffer through debilitating sickness in order to die and be born again.
It's like having a nightmare.
That sounds messed up. So it's like having a nightmare. It's
not messed up.
It is messed up, man, because cancer is terrible. So it is messed up.
No, I know, but
live
listen,
a life
you're talking about, and I don't mean to cut you off.
I don't know why children need to. Well, I don't know. I don't understand why children need to suffer in order to what's the end goal? To reincarnate again? What's the end goal?
So no, I'm not even talking about reincarnation. But listen, if there was no bad, there could be no good. You can't have good without bad.
Right. No, I'm not asking for things to be perfect. I'm not asking for things to be perfect. But suffering needlessly doesn't need to happen, does it? Useless suffering. That's what I'm talking about. Needless, useless suffering. That doesn't need to happen.
In a sense, with because like just like protons and electrons, there's always an opposite. There's always an opposite. So what I'm trying to tell you is, yes, to be honest, there doesn't have to be suffering, but there's going to be suffering. As long as there's people living in paradise, there's going to be people living in poverty as well, because there has to be an opposite, and that's what makes the universe the universe. It's unique as one.
I mean,
but there's two.
That doesn't.
There's
really,
the light and the dark.
I mean, that doesn't really.
I know it doesn't make sense.
That doesn't really. That's my question.
It doesn't make sense unless you really think about it.
No, I don't think so. But Jazzy, we're gonna have to go ahead and move on. But I do appreciate you being here. We'll talk again soon. All right.
No, I got 45 seconds left. All
right, cool. Go ahead and use the 45 seconds.
I just want to say to everybody on the chat.
All righty. Heritage, how's it going, Heritage? Are you at least 18? Are you Christian, Muslim, or Hebrew Israelite? And are you a black person? You're gonna have to turn off the stream in the background.
Let me check.
Yeah, let me see if that's better. Yeah, that's much better. All right, cool. So what's good? I don't think that black people should be Christian. Over 18, you're Christian. All right, great.
Sure. I'm an African too. 100% African.
All right, cool, great.
Black person.
All right, cool, great. I'm heritage. Christian and a black person. I don't think that black people should be Christian. Why do you think we should be?
Why? Because it goes back to ages, you know, tracing back the history of Africans. Though we have different deities all over Africa, means there is a greater source or a creator.
Can you say that again? You're muffled. I didn't hear any of that.
Are you hearing me now?
I can hear you better now. Yeah.
Okay. What I'm saying is, Africans are to be Christians.
Africans are to be Christians?
You know, because tracing back to our...
Yeah, you're going in and out, buddy.
If not all, at least some.
Yeah, Heritage, you're going in and out. I didn't hear a word you said. You said that Africans are to be Christian. Why?
Yeah, and I'm saying dating back to ages, when we goes back to centuries or some years back, where our forefathers.
Heritage, you're gonna have to get better Wi-Fi, man, because you keep going in and out. Do me a favor. Go ahead and
we used to have.
All right, Heritage, do me a favor. Go ahead and get to a better area because you keep going in and out. So get to a better area and then come on back. Hey, Bar, you there, bro? Give me 1 second, Larry. And Anderson, give me 1 second. Hey, Bar, let me know if you're there yet. Bar, let me know if you're there yet.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm joining. I'm joining on the webcam now.
All right, cool. Over on the StreamYard, right?
Yeah, I'm joining it now.
All right, cool. Anderson, over on my StreamYard, I'm gonna bring you up once a Bar comes in. All right, then we'll bring you up. Just give me 1 second because I know you had a lot to talk about with him as well. Hey, Larry, how's it going, Larry? Are you at least 18, Christian, Muslim, or Hebrew Israelite, and are you a black person?
Yeah, I'm 35. I'm Christian, and I'm not fully black, but I'm probably about 30% black. Does that count? Is that black enough, I guess?
30%.
I guess my question would be wouldn't that just be an appeal to authority? Couldn't someone who's not black have an opinion that could convince black people to actually follow Christianity?
No, I mean, I can actually, we can still talk about it, but the only reason why we ask is because we like to speak directly to black people who are Christian, Muslim, or Hebrew Israelite. But if you are not a black person, sure, I can still get your opinion. Why should black people be Christian?
Sure. Well, I would just say that if we were to take all of the world paradigms as a whole, and I don't think that there's an infinite amount of those, I think that Christianity provides the best explanation for our epistemic views, ethics, and metaphysics.
It doesn't.
Well, okay. That's not an argument.
Yeah, because things that are asserted without evidence can also be rejected without evidence.
Okay. What was asserted without evidence?
Everything that you just said. Christianity best comports to metaphysics, epistemology, and everything else that you said. I just said no, it doesn't.
Well, I mean, I'm just framing it, right? Like we have to get into the argument before you can say it's false.
Okay, so what evidence do we have that Christianity best gets? What did you say again? You said epistemology and what else?
Yeah, so epistemology, ethics, and metaphysics. So we can start with something like ethics. There's basically only two routes you can take with ethics, and I think you would agree with this. You can either have subjective or objective interpretations of how ethics work. On a secular worldview, I see no way that you can get anywhere to an objective realm on right or wrong. So right off the basis of that, I would say that secular ethics just falls apart, because then it just becomes a matter of preference. So if I were to say something like, hey, slavery is wrong, and somebody else has a different opinion on that, their opinion would be equally as valid as mine. It becomes an incoherent worldview.
Aren't you in the same position?
No, because my worldview has an objective standard for morality.
But
now, it doesn't mean that God exists.
But
right?
that's just a preference that you have, because under Christianity is just an opinion. Islam is just an opinion too.
Well,
so under
Christianity,
hold on.
Okay,
you're under my same position, and the reason why that is because you simply prefer Christianity, and we know that you prefer Christianity because you're not Muslim or you're not Hindu. There are other religions out there that also have their own sort of ethical framework. So you just can't say because I'm Christian, I have an objective worldview. Someone who's Muslim can say the same thing. Even someone who's secular can say the same thing. There are people who argue that you can have objective morals under secularism. So like that entire premise is just wrong.
Well, how can you have objective morals under secularism?
I don't know. You have to talk to someone who advocates for that. I think there's what's his name? Ian, I think. I think Ian talks about that. But I particularly don't know. I think morals are subjective, even though if your God were to exist, it will still be subjective.
Well, he wouldn't be subjective. I think that's
so the morals depend on what God wants, or
no? I think people say that it would be subjective because God is ultimately a subject. But if God is the creator of all things, if we derive all of our morality, all of our logic, all of our epistemic knowledge from God, to merely say he's just a subject, I would say
he would still be a subject.
Is definitionally incorrect.
He will still be a subject.
No, because it reduces God down to like a material state, and God is immaterial. And as you would know,
subjects don't have to be material.
Okay, so now we're getting into, I guess, philosophical ideas here. So how would you justify things like the self?
What do you mean justify the self? That makes no sense.
Okay, well, you said that like the mind. Are you saying that the mind and the self are immaterial?
The mind is our brain is not immaterial. Our brain is material. The mind is not.
Right. So I guess, do immaterial realities exist in your worldview?
Immaterial realities? I'm not sure if that's even a thing.
Like the mind, do you look at the mind as being a part of, like, are the mind and the brain the same thing to you? Or do you look at the brain as being like a physical state and the mind is something that's immaterial? Like when you have a thought, do you think that there's like molecules in your brain that like rearrange themselves and that's what your thought is? Or do you think that the mind exists immaterially of the brain?
No, the mind is what the brain produces. So we've never detected consciousness or a mind without a physical brain. So the mind is what the mind is basically what's being produced by the brain.
Right, but is that material or immaterial? Like, do you understand like what I'm saying? Like the brain obviously is material. I don't think either one of us would have issues with that, right? But the mind itself, like when you conceptualize something in your head, is that just molecules, like brain molecules in your mind rearranging themselves, and like you're having this thought, and that's just molecules in your brain that are rearranging and creating that thought?
Correct. They're emergent. They're emergent. Molecules, chemicals, etc. They come together in order to make something new. Your thoughts are emergent.
Yeah. Okay. What do you mean by emergent?
They're physical things that come together to make something new, just like fire. It's emergent.
Yeah. Physical things that, so again, I don't know if it really explains the question. So like when you say it's emergent, are you saying that the brain is immaterial?
No,
or, I mean, the mind is immaterial, or is it material?
It's material, but when we talk about, when we're speaking, I guess colloquially, right, we can say like our mind is something completely immaterial, but it's made from material things. Like you can see your thought patterns in your brain. You can see which.
Yeah, I don't think we disagree on that.
Right.
That the mind is connected to the brain, right? The brain is material. I would argue from my worldview that the mind is immaterial.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with that. The mind could be something that's immaterial.
Okay, and then like maybe we'll get some agreements here. Another immaterial reality may be something like the laws of logic.
When you say immaterial reality, I'm not sure what that means either.
It means it's not made of parts. Like you can't see it under a microscope, right? So like I could put the brain underneath a microscope and I could use empirical data to
okay, gotcha. Well, the laws of logic are just a description of reality. They're not something onto themselves.
Okay, but do you think that like do the laws of logic actually exist immaterially, or do you think that we just create them?
We create the labels for them. Like they're things that happens in reality and we're describing them. That's all the laws of logic are.
Well, trying to think of how to best ask you a question on this to, I guess, maybe pose something here. But
one of the things that the laws of logic aren't things onto themselves. They're what we made up to describe what we're seeing in reality.
Okay, so you're saying that we make up the laws of logic?
Yeah, we make up what we saw in reality. Well, we came up with the description, basically.
So if we make up the laws of logic, I believe that would just be a self-defeating, it's a defeater essentially, because you would be saying, we make up these laws of logic and that thing is objectively true. But if you're making up logic, how could you point out that that thing is objectively true? Well,
what I'm saying is that we made up the labels. We're describing what we see in the universe, basically. The universe has certain phenomena. We agree on that.
Right. We agree with that, right? Like these laws of logic exist.
Right.
And we've described like the law of non-contradiction, what that thing is.
Right. We're just describing what we see in the universe. What I'm saying is
that where we diverge though is I'm saying that the law of non-contradiction is immaterial. It actually exists. We can't see it. Mm. But if it didn't exist, we wouldn't even be able to communicate because that's what governs logic.
I'm not sure what you mean.
Let me
go ahead,
jump in. So how does this get to why Black people should practice the religion that was forced on them? Like, I'm not understanding how all of this feel bro bullshit gets us to answering that question, because you talking about the law of logic and all this is irrelevant. Every culture, every tribe, every ancient group of people had their own ways to navigate the universe. Everyone had their own means to like spiritual systems and all that shit. Everybody had that. So for what reason should people who have been colonized, subjugated, and forced to believe in Christianity, why should they practice this religion?
Well, I would answer the first part of that would be ethical claims, right? So we were kind of talking about ethics before we got diverted into this. So you were talking about being subjugated, right? In an atheistic worldview, as far as I'm concerned, nobody's ever given a good grounding point for morality.
It doesn't matter. No, because you're talking about an atheistic worldview. That's not
but you haven't even let me make the point yet before you cut me off.
That's not the conversation.
It is, but you're not understanding. You cut me off.
Hold on, Larry, pause.
Let me finish my point.
No, I know what the point is. You're saying that you're saying that under Christian worldview, you have an ethical standard that's objective, and if God says slavery is wrong, then it'll be wrong. Atheists don't have that. That's wrong on two accounts. Number one, like I said, well, three accounts. Number one, like I already said, God is already a subject, and number two, He's actually given instructions to enslave. Hold on,
you're making an assertion. You have to prove that
it's not an assertion.
Then justify it.
Is God a being?
I would say God is immaterial.
Is he a being?
He's a material being. Sure.
He's a subject then. So
subject of what?
The thing is, bro, things are subject. You realize nouns are subject, right? This is a subject. This phone is a subject. I'm a subject. You're a subject. God is a subject. If it's a being, it's a subject. So like, hold on. Let me finish. Let's finish with this. You're wrong on several accounts. Number two, when it comes to the atheistic worldview, you can account for things like morals being wrong because under my worldview particularly, I'm all about human well-being. Slavery objectively does not. I need to justify human well-being. Are you serious?
You're just making statements, claims. What I'm saying is
I didn't make a claim. Larry. I didn't make a claim. I stated my position. No, Larry, be quiet. Please. I didn't make a claim. I said under my worldview, I uplift human well-being, and slavery does not uplift human well-being. It just doesn't. All evidence shows that, right? There's no evidence to show that slavery is good for anyone. So that's number one. I can under that paradigm, I can say slavery is wrong. Under your paradigm is whatever God wants, and in the Bible, God has actually ordered slavery. So this will be ridiculous to say that I can't morally say slavery is wrong when your Bible literally says that slavery is all good and well, and your God orders it. That's ridiculous. We have 3 more minutes.
And it gets worse because we're talking about objective morality coming from someone's cultural myth that they made up. Yahweh out of the Bible is a made up God, just like all the rest. How can objective morality come from a tribal deity from the southern Levant region? That's why this conversation, that's why I was trying to stop you, because this conversation doesn't make sense. This is not an internal critique of your religion. When we step outside of the what if God is real, then we have no reason to be having this conversation when it pertains to Black people and religion.
It makes sense because...
And the other problem is that there are other ethical frameworks outside of Christianity, Confucianism, Taoism, Voodoo. All of them have ethical frame. Okay, so all right. So if no one denies that, saying that we should be Christian for an ethical framework is a stupid argument. I could be. You can say I should be Buddhist under that under that argument. That's ridiculous.
Okay, are all religions true?
No,
all of them are false.
Okay, so how would the argument that any religion can fill in?
All of them are false. All religions are man-made. Every God that can be named can be traced back to the people who made it up. I'm just responding to his argument that it could be any religion. It can't be any religion. He just self-refuted himself.
Yes, it can be any religion because Larry, you just said that it provides some ethical framework, but you cannot prove any religion to be true, including yours.
Okay, that's a claim.
So ethical. No, it's not a claim. You literally can't prove it to be true. Can you go back in time right now and see Jesus rise from the dead? Can you do it?
Okay, when you say
can you go back in time right now to prove to see Jesus rise from the dead? Can you do it?
I don't have a time machine.
Exactly. So we can't prove it to be true. Christianity, Christianity passes or fails on Jesus rising from the dead. No, you stop. This is my stage. Christianity. No. You stop. This is my stage. You're not gonna call us a stage. Christianity or succeeds or fails on the resurrection of Jesus Christ. None of us can go back in time and see him rise from the dead. So none of us can prove it to be true. Period.
Can I respond now?
Go ahead.
Is the only way to prove truth claims through empiricism?
Mostly, yeah.
Is it the only way?
Is it the only way? I'm not sure.
Okay, because you're making an empirist claim right now that the only way we can prove this thing is if we were there to see it. That's empiricism, right? The things that we see are the things that are true.
All right,
but
cool.
That's also a circular argument.
All right,
because
cool.
You can't
That's wrong because empiricism doesn't only take sight into consideration. There's other things too. But do we have any? Yeah, the senses. But do we have any type of physical evidence for Jesus rising from the dead?
Physical. So again, so you're saying that there's only physical.
Such a thing can only be physical, can only be shown with the physical evidence. Accounts are just claims, and we don't even. And the only accounts that we have is Paul saying someone 500 people saw it. We have no idea who those 500 people are. We have none of their memoirs, none of their names, none of it.
Okay, but you don't have again. How do you interpret the rest of history?
What do you mean? How to interpret the rest of history?
We have
archaeological evidence of these people. We have several pinpoints that could show these people either existed or were around, right? Like I said several times, I don't have a problem with Jesus being a real guy. The powers is what we have an issue with.
But you don't have archaeological evidence that Jesus actually existed. So why would you believe that if you're an empiricist?
Exactly, which is the problem, right? So when it goes hold on. When it comes to Jesus being a real person, right? The best historians have is basically Tacitus rewriting the Roman history, right? That's the best that they got. And Paul saying that he met James, the brother of Jesus.
Josephus.
That's really and Josephus saying that the Jewish people worship a guy named Jesus. That's the best that we got.
Empirical evidence.
None of that is empirical, exactly. So
why would you believe it?
The thing is the reason why I accept it is because this is right now the historical consensus. I don't know how historians make consensus, right? But if that's the historical consensus, it can be wrong. Larry, you need to slow down. Consensus can be wrong, but if the historical consensus says that Jesus was likely real, I don't have an issue with that. If he was fake, I don't have an issue with that, right? I'm agnostic on Jesus being important to be real, right? I just give it to y'all that Jesus was a real guy, whatever. That doesn't make his powers real. That's what I'm saying.
Let me ask you a question because it's along these lines. Is there historical consensus that the apostles truly believed that Jesus rose from the dead?
Yeah, they really believe that.
Okay, so why is that wrong if you just believe in historical consensus?
Because someone believing something doesn't make it true. There's a consensus.
There's a consensus the other way.
There's a consensus that they believed it. there's not a consensus that he actually did it. Those are two different things, bro. What the hell are we talking about? All right, man. Time's up. Time's up. We getting out of here. I'm tired. All right. How's it going, Bar? Shout out to Bar, y'all. Bar's in the building. What's going on, y'all? Hey, y'all. Appreciate y'all. Hey, y'all. Bar just dropped a phenomenal album. Y'all go ahead and check that out. I've been jamming that last song for a while. Hey,
yeah, Poor Souls is the yeah.
It's amazing.
I appreciate it.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Just a quick second. All right, we do have Anderson in the building. I spoke a long time with Anderson last time, but I think he wants to talk to you as well, Bar. But before we do that, if you are watching me from the Black Atheist Coalition, I appreciate you watching me from there over on the Black Atheist Coalition. Man, really big win on those numbers. Thank y'all so much for watching me over on the Black Atheist Coalition. We're already at thousands of views and 70 people watching. Thank y'all so much for watching me over there. All right. We do have some people in the queue. We have DeFero, we have Mike, and we have Ubuk. Oh man, I'm gonna destroy that name. I'm sorry. But we have people in the queue. We're gonna go ahead and get to y'all next. If you're watching me over on the Deconstruction Junction, I appreciate you watching me there as well. Big win on those numbers. We're almost at 1,000 over on Deconstruction Junction. We're almost at 1,000 over on Volcy Thoughts. You guys are amazing. Thank y'all so much for being here. If you're watching me over from Twitch, once again, it should be in the board on how to join in. Thank y'all so much for watching me over on Twitch as well. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and move on. We got Anderson on the stage. Anderson, we spoke last time. I think we have more discussed today. As y'all can see, Anderson is another Black person, but he's an interesting case because he is an agnostic just like us, but he doesn't think that we should discourage or encourage people to leave the Christian faith or any faith of that matter. Anderson, let's go ahead and talk again. What did you want to talk about today?
Yeah, that's kind of my view there. How's it going?
I'm all right. All right. So yeah, we don't think that Black people should be Christian because it's the religion of our enslavers. Why do you think that we should stay within the religion of our enslavers?
Yeah, I think that there's kind of like there's a meta view that I think that your world, or maybe this worldview has, that I just totally disagree with. And I think the core of it is, which is why I wanted to kind of understand why you left, Christianity. Like, I really want to care about what's true. So I really try and step outside of my own personal interest or how my own background links me to whatever I'm trying to investigate, regardless of how it makes me feel, right? So many people will say, hey, how can you leave, Christianity? You're Black, being Christian is extremely important. And they'll list out, all the reasons. And I go, that doesn't mean anything to me. I want to know what's true, regardless of me being Black and wanting to be Christian. But I think similarly, when it comes to valuing ancient, African religions, valuing them over more modern religions, like the Judeo-Christian religions, I don't want to play the game of these religions are, the older African religions are better. Why? Because those are our ancestors' religion, as in that gives them some sort of priority when it comes to truth, when it comes to how the belief system, interacts, in the world. Both systems are not true, but maybe one of them is more true and can lead to more positive, outcomes, in the modern day. So that is to say, to keep it bluntly, to just say it bluntly, I think that what you have over time is you have like an evolution of most religions. And I don't want us to cling to the ancient African ones simply because those are the religions of, our ancestors. They're just simply not as good of a way of advancing human well-being, simply because they're older, simply because they haven't been through the same type of renaissance as, like the Judeo-Christian, system of beliefs. So I think ideally, if you have someone that has a more modernized, religious viewpoint, like they're Christian or even if they're Muslim, that would be better than having like an ancient religious view. So that is not to say I think it's better necessarily for them to be Christian than to be an atheist. I think that depends.
What are you talking about?
And I think
what are you talking about?
Yeah. All right, so Anderson, here's the issue that I have, right? When it comes to this entire a modern version, the reason why I disagree with that heavily is because number one, Africa was interrupted. Yeah, I mean, Africa was interrupted. So when it comes to it wasn't just African societies that were interrupted, but their religious, their spiritual views were all interrupted. We don't know if they could have had a renaissance because according to the time, slavery and colonialism happened, right? But even before that, when anthropologists try to reconstruct, the ethical frameworks of what these ancient traditions had over in Africa, they had communalism, they had complex forms of ethics, they had complex forms of spirituality. A lot of them had versions that were more metaphorical than they were literal, meaning that voodoo, if it was never interrupted and inspired to today, it would probably look more like Buddhism, where there is no central God, where things are just more about meditation and community, etc. You see what I'm saying? But the thing is, we won't know that because of, again, the interruption. And it still won't happen now because people in Africa and the Caribbean are so stuck on being Christian or Muslim that we can't develop our own ancient traditions. You see what I'm saying? So I wouldn't say, and not only that, that's where I would end. I wouldn't say it's better for someone to be Christian because on quote unquote it's more modern. I would say that we just need to develop our ethics, because a lot of things within Christianity, especially the way that it works in the West, all it does is perpetuate white supremacy. So why be in it?
Yeah, I don't know much about the ancient religion, so there is going to be a lot of simply I don't know. Maybe that's true, but based off my understanding, the core of it is they're just more primitive. Now,
what does that mean, though? You know what I'm saying? Because
primitive as in
wait a minute.
What you get in a lot of religions.
Hold on, Anderson. I think Bar had a question for you. Go ahead, Bar.
All religions are primitive.
Oh, you're on mute.
Every religion is primitive. Every last one.
I can't hear him. I don't know.
They're all.
Hold on, give me a second. You said you can't hear him, Anderson?
Yeah.
You can't hear the TikTok.
On my end, it looks like he's on mute.
Okay, give me a second. Give me a second, y'all. You should.
Yeah, you got to make it to where he can hear the TikTok.
Yeah, I'm doing that right now. Yeah. All right, give me 1 second, guys. Sorry about that. Cool. All right, go ahead and speak into it again, Bar.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yep.
There we go.
So all of these religions are primitive. All of these gods are antiques. They're old. When you're talking about modernity, you're literally talking about advancements in science, medicine, technology that Black people have contributed to. Like Christianity does not get to monopolize on civilization moving forward and becoming more modern. That's not a Christian thing. For the longest time, they wanted to unalive scientists. They were unaliving scientists. They were trying to hold us back. The clergy didn't, for the longest time in Europe, they didn't even want the regular man to read this literature. And now we got a Black dude talking about they're modern. No, they had no choice but to get. No, hold on. Christianity had no choice but to get with the times, because they literally had to upgrade their theology to fit the times. They're outdated. All religions, all gods are made up. I'm not arguing for us to practice anyone's spirituality, because spirituality it's exclusive, and it is isolated, and it is tribe-based, group-based, culture-based, ethnicity-based. I'm an atheist. Why would I tell Black people to learn about African cultures and belief systems because they were demonized by the Christians. That's why I tell people to learn about them. But I'm not saying believe in the Orisha. No, I'm just simply saying learn about the Orisha so you can know in your mind that we were not demons and we were not demon worshipers, and there's nothing demonic about what we had going on prior to colonialism. That's what I tell people. But
yeah,
I don't even understand your argument because it don't make sense.
No, I agree with that. Let me just clarify my point there. When I'm talking about like the modernization of religion, I agree totally. Christianity kind of, became modernized, being dragged, just kind of, yelling and screaming by, like the, science.
Colonization is how Christianity got modern. Colonization.
Well, right. Yeah. It wasn't from religion. I'm more talking about when you look at, like modern day Christianity. So whatever, just like 1500s or, whatever. A lot of things were removed because of the way that the New Testament is written. So things like sacrificing, like a belief system where you need to act in a way to appease or give something to the gods so they can give you something back, which creates some sort of sacrifice. That belief system is kind of baked into many. I'm not certain if it's all, but most very old religions, they have some type of belief system of sacrifice. They also have some sort of belief system where a lot of things like animals, pretty much non-living things, get human qualities and have beliefs and have interest. So the wolf wants to do this because its spirit wants to do that. It has its wants and its needs. A lot of these old, ancient religions have that. What you get, and you do get something that's slightly unique, excluding Buddhism and Hinduism in some ways, but not totally. But really Christianity, especially the New Testament, it does have it's more like it's like a jump. There is a jump when it comes to like the creativity in creating this belief system, and it doesn't have some of the ancient, remnants that many older belief systems do. That's when
Have you read the New Testament?
Say it again.
Have you read the New Testament? It's talking about a man walking on water, turning water into wine, earthquakes where fucking totally, people come out the grave. What are you talking about, brother?
There's not miracles. I didn't say that there's not miracles.
The main character in the New Testament is talking about the fucking world is about to end. That's modern to you?
Yeah,
what are you talking about, brother?
I'm not saying that.
Listen to this. Hold up. Just wait for a minute. All modern versions of Christianity, all Protestant denominations of Christianity advocated for, profited from, and were in favor of the enslavement and oppression of black people. Every last one of them. Why do you want black people to practice religions that were used to justify what has happened to us? Are you against white supremacy? Yes or no? So are you against white supremacy? No, this conversation ain't even that difficult. Are you against white supremacy or not?
Before me, yes, 100% I'm against.
Okay. Are you against the oppression of black people?
Yes, 100%.
Are you against the lynchings, the church bombings, all of the things that they've done to us, the Klan? Are you against all of that? If you're against all of that, this is no brainer. You should be against Christianity then, because Christianity is the driving force for every crime that has been committed against black people in this country ever since our contact with white people during the 15th century. This has been their justification for everything they did.
Yeah, let me just tangent because I kind of want to strike a chord here. There's a certain type of emotional disposition that you're having that I think a lot of the religious people that Volcy speaks to, you're taking that side now. And the reason you're taking
let's slow down for a minute. Let's slow down for a minute. Let's slow down for a minute. No, just hold on for a minute. Just slow down for a minute. I'm not in my feelings. Just hold on. Just give me a second because these are not feelings. In the 15th. In the 15th century, in the 15th century, who pushed the button on the transatlantic slave trade? What group of people? What group of people did that, Anderson?
I mean, the West.
White European Christians. This is not my feelings. This ain't my. I have no opinion on history. In the year 1453, in the year 1452, I'm sorry, white European Christians came out with the doomed verses. My feelings is not involved in what I just told you. What I just said to you is an undeniable fact. The doomed verses comes out in 1452. That's not my feelings. The Klan, the lynchings, the bombings, the redlining, the Jim Crow, the segregation.
Those are all facts.
All of that comes from white European Christians. You talking about feelings? I have not gave you a feeling at all.
But you're right. That those things were horrible, and they did come from. I mean, they came
from who? No. From who? From who?
Hold on.
From who? You won't even answer the question. Like, what are we talking about?
No, they came from.
You don't even have the nuts to say who it came from, but you want to advocate for the religion. What the fuck are we talking about?
Okay. I'm not. One, they came from Europeans, correct? I'm not advocating for
European Christians using the Bible as justification.
European Christians, hands down.
Yeah.
But the story is more nuanced than that, because on the flip side, you could say that also European Christians use the Bible and also science and also this improved moral system.
Listen to him, Volcy. Watch this.
Hold on.
All right, so you see what he's about to do? He's about to argue for. I got it. Mute him for a minute. Let me explain to you what he's doing. I already got it. Basically, what he's saying is Christianity ain't that bad in a modern sense because white European Christians use the Bible for abolition and the Quakers and all that bullshit. He's basically saying the Christians freed us, so Christianity ain't that bad. Black people have gathered at the church to unite, so it ain't that bad. You don't understand what's happening here, sir. You've done what's called putting the cart before the horse.
Can I?
You want to start in 2026? Look at all these black people that's Christian. Look at them. They doing.
I just want to add something. I just want to add something, Anderson. Like, yeah. So when you're saying that there's a flip side of this where white European Christians,
is he a Christian? Is he a Christian?
He's not. He's agnostic. That's
this is sad. Even the motherfuckers that don't white white supremacy real, nigga.
This is what I wanted to say, Anderson. I think I brought this up last time. You want to you're bringing up like the flip side where white European Christians also use the religion and science for more ethical frameworks, for education, et cetera, et cetera. The thing is, like I said before, Africa was interrupted. We already had moral frameworks. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure. Let me find that letter. It was a letter that King Leopold wrote to the missionaries in Belgium. He said that the only reason to turn the black people Christian is to uplift European markets and to make poverty noble, because the Congolese already have a moral system. They already know stealing from your neighbor is wrong. They already know murdering your neighbor is wrong. We had a moral system already, and the Europeans knew it. The only reason they were trying to spread it into Africa was to uplift.
You see what he's doing,
European markets.
Yeah. Do you see what he's doing, Volcy?
Yeah.
This nigga's talking about human sacrifices, Volcy. He's able to point out. He's able to point out things about African spirituality that he feels are, not as, are not as, in a modern sense. We would look at those as not things that are moral. He's able to do that with African culture and spirituality, but is oblivious to Christianity and how it has progressed through history all the way up to now.
All right, I can answer the question.
Nigga, the whole religion is based on a human sacrifice. What the fuck are you talking about?
That's what I was trying to bring up.
This nigga's a joke.
That's what I was trying to bring up. So Anderson,
you're a joke.
So Anderson, I get what you're saying, right? Like there was human sacrifice things happening
earlier in this one.
Anderson, give me a second. I know that there were human sacrifice things happening in Africa, right? We all know that. All across the world, there were human sacrifice. Right. Asia had human sacrifice, right? But Christianity is not the one that stopped it, because Christianity is literally based on the sacrifice. You see what I'm saying?
But the core thing about the New Testament, though, the New Testament shifted, and this is why. So, like, if you put on your just like straight up intellectual hat and you just look at Christianity from a, why is this religion so mass across the globe? What about
colonialism? Colonialism. That's the only reason. That's the only reason, sir.
True. But there's something about the way that it kind of goes into most humans' cognitive architecture, and it kind of latches on why so many people are linked to it. And the meme of that Christian belief system has just kind of
let me ask you a question.
So many people's thinking.
Let me ask you a question, Anderson. Hold on. Let me ask you a question. Let me just ask you a question. No, I got you. Let me just ask you this question. If European colonialism didn't happen the way that it did, do you think Christianity will still be the dominant religion on the planet?
No.
Right. So
what the fuck are we talking about?
So when you say that it latches onto your cognitive thing, not really, bro. The only reason why it's so prevalent is because of colonialism. That's really the only reason.
So so that is no doubt like you need to conquer people for them to have the belief system. Totally. Mm-hmm. But there's something that is very unique about Christianity in that, one, it identifies even people from like white Europeans that were atheists, that were not religious at all, could identify the depthness of Christianity, because one, it talks about how human life is just hard and difficult. So one, people already just like link with that. How does it, pass that message on? Because it says, oh, humans are like baked in sin, and like the reason your life is hard is because of sin. That framework is very powerful because most people realize that their life is very difficult. That's one. So it starts off by saying that your life is already difficult. That's a deep way to communicate a message, like in a story, to someone. That's one. Two, it communicates, it does have the sacrifice part, but it does it in a much deeper way. It's a huge metaphor. You have Jesus being the core sacrifice, and because of his sacrifice, now we don't have to actually do sacrifices anymore. That's a jump. That's literally like a colossal jump that most other religions just never did. Now, given time, could they make that type of jump? Yes, but most of them did not have that type of jump, which means when you have just modern day or just the New Testament, you're not going to have sacrifice or actual like human sacrifice or even animal sacrifice because of the advancement of the New Testament. That's very unique.
Here's the problem.
Very unique.
Here's the problem. Can I just point out one thing? I got you.
That's terrible.
I'm gonna let you go. Hold on, everybody. I'm gonna let you go, but I want to point out something. Anderson, you do realize that Eastern religions didn't have human sacrifice, correct?
Right. So that's why I said earlier.
Hold on. Give me a second. I got you. So hold on. Wait. Hold on. Yeah. So Buddhism, Hinduism, Shintoism, Taoism, Confucianism, they didn't have human sacrifice. They didn't require any of this.
I just said that. So, hold on. I literally did I not say like?
Right. I got you. I got you. But the thing is, when you say that Christianity is unique and it made this leap, it's not very unique because there were religions out there that didn't even need human sacrifice. All this did was take something that was happening in their general area and said, "Oh, y'all, let's not do it anymore." When you see these millions of people across the land never had it. I'm saying, so I'm not sure what we're crediting Christianity.
I agree, and I think there's literally tens and thousands of there's a lot of religions, and I'm trying to carve out a space for just non-East religions and just focus on those, because the East religions are the deepest ones. So Buddhism is way deeper than New Testament Christianity. So is Hinduism. Those religions are just way deeper, and we can get into that if you want. But I do think it's worth just kind of holding off on those. But I do think that my critiques, like you guys, you're able to make very nuanced and valid critiques when you're talking about religion generally, when you talk about faith and you talk about science, but for some reason, and I mean, I know the reason, when you're making critiques about the ancient, so like the Black religions in the past, your brain kind of goes offline, similar to when people start, they start making all this sense. And then the second you start talking about Jesus Christ, their brain just goes offline. Why? Because it's so central to them. It's something in their core. That core goes, I can critique anything and I'm ready to critique whatever. But once you start talking about Jesus, my brain just kind of shuts off. You guys do the same thing. Once you start talking about Black people and Black history, you kind of,
we don't, sir.
Like that entire framework, you put too high on a pedestal, and
we're literally atheists. We're atheists.
But yeah, but
Anderson,
what the fuck are you talking about?
Hold on, wait, hold on.
I literally.
Wait, hold on, everybody pause. Everybody pause. Everybody pause. Because I really don't understand what you're trying to say here, Anderson. What do you mean the critique of Black history that we have of Christianity? Because Christianity is a mythology, right? Black history is not. So what critique that we have to make about Black history or Black culture that, I mean, we can sit here and talk about internal issues within our community. I think we all agree that in our community, we do have internal issues, like misogyny within our community is a big issue, right? Hypersexualization, it's an issue in our community, right? Aesthetics, basically. Me and my wife talk about it all the time. Black people we are really worried about respectability politics and image, right? That's a big thing for us in the community, and it's all across the diaspora, not just Black people in America, but over in Haiti and Jamaica and Africa. Image is a big thing, right? And it causes a problem for us. You know what I'm saying? So like we can talk about internal things within the community. So, but this is not one of those lives. We're not talking about internal issues within our community. We're talking about, should Black people be part of this mythology that was given to us by foreigners? That's what we're talking about. And you're saying that we should, because it gave us some sort of ethical framework that we literally already had. So I'm really confused on why we should still hold it up as some sort of value. It's not valuable to us anymore.
Yeah, I think that. So I think, okay, to be clear, and this is what, again, my point is just nuanced. Should most people have a worldview that it's based off science and being rational and be a 21st, century human? That is to say, live a more, secular life? I think so. Except if you live a life where you're going through a lot of hardship, you are living like in a, famine, disease, like you just have a very difficult life, then for those people, I don't think it makes as much sense to remove religion from those people's lives. For instance, people currently right now that live in Haiti or that live in parts of the world there's a lot of violence, there's a lot of confusion, there's no type of infrastructure. Those people, I think that they should be religious, especially those.
They should practice the religion that caused it, is what you're saying.
And now, when it comes to what religion should they practice, my view is they should practice the religion that has done jumps in its moral framings.
Nigga.
The one
Why though? That's the thing. That's the thing, Anderson.
Because it's a more advanced religion.
It's not. We already had more frameworks in ancient African religions, bro. We already had that.
But hold on. Simply, I mean, just look at evolution, right? Look at like why are basketball players, or even just I mean just nature. Why are
Anderson? I'm sorry to cut you off, Anderson. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I gave you at least 25 minutes. We got.
No, this is a key point. Can I just please finish on this? It's a key point, and it's going to take about 60 seconds. Simply look at evolution. The things that come after.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the Pharaoh. I appreciate
it's terrible. Like what the.
I appreciate you being here.
You want Black people to practice the religion that caused the shit that they're going through now? Like that, what he's saying does not make sense, because he's advocating for the religion that caused all of the problems that they're having on the continent of Africa.
Yeah.
Islam and Christianity is the root of all of the global causes all of the problems that niggas facing right now. Islam, Christianity, Judaism. Yep, I said it.
All the
Jews,
Abrahamic
Christians,
religions,
Muslims.
of course.
Literally. What the fuck is we talking about? But practice the religion of the niggas that did all this shit. You out your rabbit ass mind. And he ain't even a Christian.
He's not even a Christian. That was the craziest part about it. All right, guys.
Oh,
once
damn.
again, hold on, Pharaoh. Give me 1 second, Pharaoh. All right, guys. Once again, I appreciate you all being up. The link to join is still in the description or in the comments. You guys can come up anytime that you like. Once again, shout out to everybody who was watching. Shout out to you if you're watching me over on the Black Atheist Coalition. Thank y'all so much for being here. You guys can join in on the conversation by clicking the link. Shout out to you if you're watching me from a Deconstruction Junction. Once again, thank y'all over on Deconstruction Junction for calling for being here. The link is in the description if you would like to join in. No preaching, please. Over on the Volcy Thoughts channel, like I told y'all, no preaching. All right, the mods is very, very quick. They got a quick trigger finger. If they see you preaching, they will go ahead and time you out. All right, so do not complain in my comments. Don't bitch and moan. Because if you just do that, I'm just gonna go ahead and time you out, and you're gonna come back another day. All right. So who told me to stop saying the N-word? Nigga. So you don't get to tell us what to say on our live. The fuck. All right, guys. We're gonna go ahead and move on to the Pharaoh. Pharaoh, how's it going? Are you at least 18, Christian, Muslim, or Hebrew Israelite, and are you a black person?
Yeah, I'm black. I'm definitely over 18, and I'm neither Abrahamic religion.
Oh, okay, cool. So you're on our side then. What did you want to talk about?
I'm not I'm not exactly an atheist either. I'm not an atheist at all. I definitely believe in a spiritual system and a foundation.
Let's make
our ancestors.
I got you. Let's make this clear. Well, you say you're not in the Abrahamic religions, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so you follow like an African traditional religion then?
Yeah, the Pharaoh.
Okay, yeah, I ain't got to be for that. You can follow that if you want. You Egyptian?
Ours is made up too. Ours is made up too. It's all made up.
Yeah, it's all made up. Yeah.
Osiris, Isis, Horus.
I mean, do you think y'all worldview is a little bit biased because y'all atheists?
No, it's not. Cause see, I don't even have a worldview. When we look at history, and
that is your worldview.
Because
that's your worldview.
It's not.
That's not a worldview.
If I say gods are made up, this is fact. This ain't nobody's worldview. Even people who believe in a god, you can. Prime example. Do you think Zeus is real?
I believe Zeus is a copy off one of the ancient Kemetic deities. Yes.
Nigga, do you think Zeus is real? Yes or no?
I said no. No.
Is that a worldview?
No.
It's a fact. Zeus is made. It's a fact that Zeus is made up. Right.
Right. Yeah.
That's not anyone's worldview. That's a fact about the observable reality that we can fucking demonstrate. We can demonstrate using what's called religious and cultural anthropology. We can demonstrate that humans make up shit to explain the universe around them. This is what we've been doing since the dawn of man. Since the beginning of time, we've been making up shit to explain all of this. And out of that process, you get deities, you get gods, you get spiritual systems, you get conscious systems. This is where this comes from. I'm simply saying everybody's is made up based on history.
All right. Who's the first people who made up those certain histories?
It was animism. Prior to all these gods and stuff like that, when we take it all the way back, it was animism.
No,
people worshiping rocks and shit.
What people
not worshiping rocks. Yes, Africa is the cradle of all civilization. Africa, ancient Egypt is the cradle of civilization. Yes.
Okay, if it all comes from there, everything that comes after that is derivative.
Yes. Yeah. And theirs is made up as well. I don't demonize African.
Yeah, it could be made up as far as, us saying that the sun is just called Ra. But we know that is just nature. It's just another name for nature, like the Neteru. If you guys are familiar with the Neteru,
we're familiar.
There are different gods. They just represent nature. That is it.
We agree.
We don't disagree.
Okay, for sure. So
we're simply saying that the deities are made up.
Go ahead.
Everyone's deities are made up. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so you guys not knocking on Kemet because you guys.
Why would I knock on Kemet and I'm black?
No, say the last part. What?
Why would I knock on Kemet when I'm black? Those are ancient African people.
Yeah, we're black, so we're not knocking on them. We're just saying, they're made up. Like
that's what I'm trying to tell you. We don't demonize. I don't demonize African culture or nigga. I'm reading about ancient Kemet. Right? Listen, I got a friend who sent me a book from Africa, and it's literally titled "The Untold History of the Black Race and the Fall of African Civilization." And in this book, he talks about what you're talking about, the first deity. Like the mother cow Hathor and all of our deities were like some of the first ones ever worshipped. But I'm still telling you, even though it's ancient African culture, they're deifying their culture. But when I say it's made up, that's not a negative thing. I'm saying it's ours that we made up, just like the Chinese people got theirs that they made. Yes, everyone's is a derivative of the original. Yes. You can only make an alphabet in the chair one time. Everything else is a derivative of the original. 100%. But I'm simply just saying that we made it up first, and then they copied it and made theirs up too. That's all I'm saying. I'm not demonizing it, and I'm not saying we shouldn't learn about it.
Y'all not atheists. Then you can't be an atheist if you believe in that.
No, the Pharaoh. That's not what an atheist is. An atheist
this is where you give a nigga an inch and they take that now.
An atheist. Which one?
There's nothing to be agnostic about.
Pharaoh. Listen, what I'm saying to you.
Jesus, man.
Being an atheist simply means that you reject the God belief. I don't believe in a God. That's all an atheist is, bro. Lack of belief. So me saying that yes, all the other religions around the world are a derivative of ancient African religions does not mean that I now believe those ancient African religions are true. I can respect them. I can respect them, and I don't demonize them at all. Matter of fact, I've always said, if people have actually asked me if black people shouldn't be Christian, what should they be? Right? I always say you don't need to be anything, but if you're gonna choose one, at least choose the one that came from us. Yeah, I mean, choose God that look like us. That's what I've always said.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. And the guy that came on before talking about we should, believe in something that's more modern, such as Christianity. I don't think that person knows his history and how Christianity even came into Africa. You guys seem a little bit knowledgeable. Are you guys aware of how Christianity came into Africa?
Two ways. One, it went to Ethiopia first because of just proximity, and the other way is colonialism and slavery.
Okay, yeah, the first one you said was definitely on par. You guys ever hear of Fermentius? He was a Phoenician king. Well, not a king, but he worked for the king, and he went to Axum, which is in modern day Ethiopia, around that area, and he converted a king there named King Azanga.
Yeah, we know
King
that.
Azanga was his. Okay, all right. So that's how Christianity came into Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So for people to say that Christianity is a black thing, it's not.
It's not.
Because the person who came forced the king into Christianity.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all politics. So we're definitely not Christians at heart. We're not Abrahamics. We're not weak. Every time we had a war with them, we won. The new dynasty, the 18th dynasty, the Hyksos, some people call them the Hebrews, they lost that battle. But in the Bible, they talk about it was in Exodus. But if you look at the actual history,
so Pharaoh, Pharaoh, hold on. Where are we getting to? Because we all already know this history and we get it. So where are we going with this?
Oh well, you were saying like why your stream says why black people should not be Christians or Muslims. I'm just on par. We talking about Abrahamic religions and stuff.
Okay, yeah. So if we agree, we agree. Then we can go ahead and move on to the next one. But I do appreciate you being up here, Pharaoh. Like again, we don't demonize African religions. We don't demonize Kemetism or anything like that. Now, I'm not sure if you're Egyptian yourself, but if you are, yeah, I mean that's amazing. Yeah, I mean I wish more. I think Egyptians should go back to their ancient Egyptian religions. Yeah, I mean like fuck all this Islam shit. But I appreciate you though, Pharaoh. All right.
For sure. Yep.
Have a good one. All right, guys. We're gonna go ahead and bring up Mikey next. BJ, I do see you in the. Hey,
I'm seeing you there, but Something's wrong with your mic. It's not coming through.
Hold on, Mike. So BJ, I do see you in the queue. All right, you're gonna be right next to after.
There, but Mike, something's wrong with the mic. You're not.
Mike, stop. Be on mute. All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on. Where did Bar go? I think Bar probably went to the restroom. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and move on to the next person. Before we do that, y'all, once again, big shout out if you're watching me over on the Black Atheist Coalition. Y'all, the Black Atheist Coalition, y'all amazing. We almost at 4K views. That is amazing. Thank y'all so much for helping me out there. Over on the Volcy BAR channel, once again, thank y'all so much. We're almost at those amount of views as well. And over on a Deconstruction Junction, let's go ahead and pump those numbers up. No, there were no white slaves in America. Y'all stop with that bullshit myth. White people were not enslaved in America, all right? Irish were indentured servants. Indentured servants were not slaves according to colonial law. So stop spreading around that bullshit white supremacist myth. Irish people were not slaves in America. All right, guys, I appreciate y'all. We're going to go ahead and talk to Mike now. Mike, how's it going? Are you at least 18? On the Volcy BAR channel. Once again, you need to mute up your. You need to mute that. You need to mute that. Mike, mute that, please. And over on Deconstruction Junction. All right, Mike, you need to mute the stream in your background. Y'all stop with that bullshit myth.
Hello,
Mike. In America, all right? Mute the stream in the background.
I do not hear you.
Can you hear me now? You there, Mike?
I do not hear any voices.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on to someone who can hear voices. BJ, how's it going, BJ? We're all right. We see that you are a black person. Are you at? Well, you look 18, so you look over 18. You look about 20 something.
Yeah, I'm starting now.
All right, cool. And Christian, Muslim, or Hebrew Israelite?
I'm a Christian.
All right, cool. We do not believe that black people should be Christian. It was the religion of our enslavers. It was the religion of our colonizers. We don't believe that people should be the religion of their enslavers and colonizers. And not only that, the way it operates in the West simply perpetuates white supremacy. Those are our reasons why you think that we should be.
For me, honestly, what you said, honestly, is all 100% factual, right? Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people, a lot of times, because even I've been through this, I guess, mentally, I was the Nation of Islam, and I came back to Christianity. People say, well, it's a white man religion, and I understand what they're saying, because yes, in the West, it's definitely a white man religion, right? But I tell people, I had to decolonize my brain to come back to Christianity, because a lot of stuff in America, I feel like it's Christianity. That Christianity in America is Christianity disguised as white supremacy. It's really white supremacy in disguise, right? So before, like, I'm with you with that, right? You can't, my guy look like me. That's 100% true. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the essence of being black, I mean, it is, science will tell you we're the first ones here, right? Lucy, the slowest ones, and there's probably more old bones over there. There's a reason that we have thicker bone structures. Our genetics, you get the tallest and the shortest people in the same continent, because everything came from us, the God gene, right? I also believe that we are all little gods, because in the Bible it says, ye are all gods in Psalms 82, and even Jesus quoted it when the Pharisees try to stone him for blasphemy, saying he's God. So the reason I say it, well, we should, because yes, it was a cause of all the bad stuff, decolonize that Negro brain of the house nigga, and get back to what real Christianity should be, which is the God in yourself and the God that you have root for. You know what I'm saying? Because also the church, be real about it. If we're gonna demonize, we got to be real too. The civil rights movement was headed up mostly by the church in the South, right? And it's like, so yeah, I can see the detriments, but also I feel like we also have to see the accomplishments as well, if we're going to be fair and give a balanced, balanced critique on the Christian faith.
I got you. I'll answer some of that, and then I think Bar will come in as well. So when it comes to, let's start with the last thing you said. When it comes to the civil rights movement, yes, the church was the head of the civil rights movement, but I think you also understand that was for a reason. The only places where black people can congregate is, a church without any supervision. That was the only place that we can congregate. And even that had to be fought for, right? Or they had to let us do that because of Nat Turner and stuff like that. For a long time, a white person had to be there in the black church. That just changed over time, right? When they saw that people were being docile. So when it comes to that, right, what I would say is that one of the main reasons why the FBI went after the Black Panthers so much is because they weren't under a religion. You know what I'm saying? Because they were a secular people, being within Christianity, being less of a threat, wasn't present because they were secular. They didn't have the Christian faith behind them. So they were much more of a threat, which is why they went after them so hard. You see what I'm saying? So I get that the church was a place for the civil rights movement, right? That's not doubtable. But what I would say is that number one, you already said that the way that we got Christianity was through forceful and horrible means. But the second thing that I would say is, even if we were to look past that, can we show this religion to be true? And we really can't. You see what I'm saying? Now, you said that you went ahead and deconstructed and you found your way back to Christianity. That's all good and well. But under deconstruction, you do find out that much of the claims that Christianity makes is either not true, doesn't match up with the data, or the claims cannot be proven to be true. You see what I'm saying? So whenever someone tells me they deconstructed and still came back to Christianity, I always ask them, how did you do that? Knowing that a lot of these things that they claim are either can't be proven to be true or are not true at all. Yeah, I mean, that's the question that I would ask. But I think Bar wanted to add in on this. Bar, what you got?
Yeah, so when you look at Christianity has been the white man's religion way longer than we've been practicing it. Or longer than, like the civil rights movement started in the 1950s, I think. And
after Emmett Till.
Yeah, but see, you see when we do the history, because there's a video I'm responding to, and the Christian did the exact same thing. When we having a conversation about Christianity and black people, y'all always start in like this random year. You have to start. You're putting the cart before the horse. You got to go all the way back. You go all the way back to the 4th century. You look at what happened. What was happening to the black people who was practicing Christianity? There's a guy named Arian. Arius. His name was Arius, I think.
Arius,
his name was Arius
at the Council of Nicaea.
Right. Right. He said Jesus Christ and the Father are dissimilar, not the same. They cast him out.
Right.
And then right after that, Ethiopia converted to Christianity to align themselves with Rome. And then right after that, you get the Edict of Thessalonica in 391, where they're forcing Christianity on everybody, including those black people in North Africa. So if we just be reasonable and say, okay, Christianity came from a Jewish messianic movement, and then the Roman Empire adopted it. Okay, if we go with that, if we start from 325 and we work our way forward throughout, if we start at 325 and work forward, we literally see white people forcing Christianity on black people since the 4th century, all the way up until where basically today we started. Yeah, well, it's on autopilot now. We do it ourselves today, but Christianity has literally been forced on us since it's been in a position of power. It's been forced on us the entire time.
My argument against that. I'm sorry, but you finished, man. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I'm done. Go ahead.
I was going to say my argument against that would obviously be the Ethiopia argument, right? Saying that they became a Christian to align themselves with Rome. And I would say that's not true. And the reason I say this is not true, because we look at the early church history, and I say the church history, I hate saying the church history, because that automatically equates it with Rome, I guess, the center of Christianity, which it wasn't, because Ethiopia was before Rome became Christian. Because after the slaughter, where you get the message of the fish and stuff, Ethiopia already had it. That's why their books have 88 books, and it's not the 72 or 73 that the Catholics have in the Eastern Orthodox churches, or not even the 66 that the Protestant has. So blacks have always, even if you go all the way back, there's Ethiopians in the Bible before it talked about a white man. And most of the white men during that time was still in caves. They haven't even learned how to really bathe themselves, walk upright, or anything like that, because that didn't come until the Moors really civilized them. Now you can say the Greeks, if you want to call them white or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And also the reason I believe it as well is because the first people on the earth, right, Adam and Eve, reached Adam. The Adam just means mankind, right? Because a lot of that stuff is poetic. People say, well, a lot of that stuff can't be proven to happen. If you look at the language that is written in, it's poetic. Also, if there wasn't Adam and Eve, they had to be black. So everything came from the essence of black. Every religion has to come from the black. There's nothing on this earth that white people had before black people had, except for gunpowder. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, here's what I would say. Adam and Eve never existed. Yeah, I mean, so they never. I mean, yeah, sure. All religions are derivative from what the Africans had before they left. Africa, right? So we can say that. But at the end of the day, what I also say is that it goes back to what can we show to be true, right? And what we can show to be true is the negative effects that Christianity has had of us, right? We cannot show Adam and Eve to have existed. We can't show literally anything else that this Bible claims. So why be part of something that not only that is foreign to us, came from somewhere else? They made it up in their lands, and they came to Africa with it. And not only that, the way that it perpetuates itself in our society, and the fact that we cannot even show it to be true. Why be part of it? Like this, I don't see any reason to be a Christian at that point.
And I feel that, and like I say, you're an atheist, so obviously you don't believe any religion can be shown to be true, right? Which is not a problem with me. What I'm saying, I guess, is the essence of the church and the foundation of the church. Not to go back to the civil rights movement, but to start the civil rights movement, we can go any back to farther, even like John Brown, the white man killed how many, and Negroes were scared to even join him and fight for their own freedom. You had Nat Turner, like you just said. So the church has always been, I guess, a revolutionary place. And that's what I'm saying. The reason that it also helped, like you were saying, the Black Panthers were founded in the church in Oakland. That's why in the Black Panther movie, at the end scene where the kids are playing basketball, that church behind it is actually where the Black Panthers formed, where Bobby Seale and Huey Newton would meet. And my thing about it is, like I say, I can understand why you would say I shouldn't be Christian. I guess my argument is more for the history and the importance of the church and what the Black church has done for us in America. Because like you said, without the Black church, where were we meeting at? What were we doing? Well, you know what I'm saying? But I do believe, like you said, there's a lot of churches still out here perpetuating white supremacy disguised as Christianity. That's why you got Trump selling Bibles and Negroes and crackers buying it at every twist and turn. But what I'm saying is, bro, I feel like a real Christianity would worship the Black man. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, hold up. Let's because there's a lot. You're saying a lot, and you need to be helped a little bit on some of the stuff you're saying. So Ethiopia was you good. Let me turn my mic off because it's echoing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ethiopia was not Christian prior to the 4th century, and we know this because you can look. They have images of their coinage, all the way up until the 4th century. And when you look at the coinage in the 4th century, in the middle, in like the 330, this is where their coins go from bearing the sun disk to bearing the cross, and it lines up with the timeline of when Saint Frumentius brought Christianity to King Ezana's father, and then he became basically a tutor of King Ezana and indoctrinated the king that the king that converted his kingdom to Christianity. His tutor growing up was a Christian named Frumentius. I think he was I can't remember his race, but he was not Black. He was not African, but his tutor was a Christian growing up. And when he became king, he converted the kingdom of Axum to Christianity for political reasons, for militaristic reasons, because at that time in the 4th century, the Roman Empire controlled the infrastructure, the trade routes, the roads, the money. Because during the Hellenistic period is where the Greeks and then the Romans basically colonized all of the Middle East. All of that region on the map was colonized by the Greeks, and then the Romans coming in. And so when the Romans come in and they take over after the Greek, they've simply inherited all of this territory, all of these provinces that the Greek colonized under Alexander the Greek. When Christianity gets rolling, and when you look at Constantine and Eusebius, you know about the Council of Nicaea in 325, but you also have to look up Eusebius, who is the father of church history, and he wrote his works is called ecclesiastical. He wrote ecclesiastical histories. It was either right before the Council of Nicaea or right after. He came up with a lot of the things that they are using as church tradition come from him. When you look them up, it comes from him. And so this was prior to Ethiopia's conversion in the 330s or whatever, because that is when King Ezna was king. That is when their coinage started to change, and Christianity spread in Ethiopia is called the top-down model, where the king and his court converts first, and then they I want to say impose. They basically impose it on their kingdom, and because the Ethiopians or the kingdom of Axum, they follow their king. Whatever he worshiped, they worship. Whatever he believed, they believe. The same way the Roman Empire was. Whatever Constantine believed in, you niggas gonna follow suit too. The same thing in Ethiopia. And so at that time, Ethiopia, they wanted to play ball with the big boys. Roman Empire was the big boys at that time. That is when they converted to Christianity. Not before that. The Ethiopian eunuch in the book of Acts. The book of Acts is not a historical count. It's the New Testament. It's filled to the brim with pseudepigrapha. It's pseudonymous. It's pseudepigrapha. It's mythological storytelling written in third person omniscient. This is the telltale sign of some shit people are making up after the fact, right? And so when we look at black people and their conversion to Christianity, the Ethiopian Bible, the Ethiopians they're not older than Roman, they're not older than Christianity in Europe, they're not older than Christianity in Rome. According to the church tradition, the New Testament was written in Greek. Ethiopians wrote and spoke Ge'ez, not Greek. That means that the Ethiopian Bible would have been, it just makes logical sense that it would have had to have been translated into their language for them. If you look up what's called the Garima Gospels, this is your first rendition of an Ethiopian New Testament. But when you look up the dating on the Garima Gospels, it's between the 5th and the 7th centuries. Long after Roman conversion, long after the New Testament was written, long after the first 3 New Testament, or the first 3 complete renditions of the Bible, the complete Bible with the Greek Septuagint and the New Testament, they're called codices or codexes. It's the Codex Sinaiticus, the Codex Vaticanus, and the Codex Alexandrinus. These are 3 Greek translations of the New Testament with the Old Testament put together that predate an Ethiopian Bible. There's no way that their conversion predates Rome. There's no way that their Bible is the first Bible. They have the books that they have in are simply the books that the church took out, but they don't have the original. No, you can't have the original if you got it from someone else. That's just not how that works. So, and then also, if you look up what's called, because everybody know about the Council of Nicaea, but nobody talk about the Council of Chalcedon, where the shit really hit the fan. When you look at the Council of Chalcedon, where the Roman Empire in Constantinople, they switched from, or they didn't switch, but they decreed that it's called Diaphysitic Christology. They switched from well, I don't want to say they switched from. I'm basically just going to say that they had a council meeting because there were still arguments over the nature of Jesus, right? The argument didn't end at the Council of Nicaea. They kept arguing and arguing for 900 years. And one of the councils that they had was the Council of Chalcedon, where they said, after the close of the Council of Chalcedon, everybody outside of Constantinople rejected the Council of Chalcedon. Armenia, Syria, Ethiopia, and Egypt, they didn't agree with the Council of Chalcedon. And guess what happened? Rome ostracized and alienated all they ass, because if you didn't agree with the Chalcedonian Christianity, we wasn't gonna fuck with you. So if we look at the 3rd century, if we look at the 4th century, where Ethiopia converts to align with Rome, not even a century, not even 200 years later, they get sidelined by that same empire that they converted to align with after the Council of Chalcedon. This is not, if you look up what's called the seat of Christianity, if you look it up right now, it's going to tell you that the seat of Christianity is in the Vatican. Prior to it being in the Vatican, it was in the city of Constantinople. And so when we look at the seat of Christianity, since it's been a thing, it has always been controlled by Europeans in Europe. Some form of the Roman Empire or an extension of it has always controlled the seat of Christianity. It has never been controlled by black people. We've never had a say so on a council. We're not the head Negroes in charge when it comes to the church. Never have been. All these new denominations that y'all see out here, these are Protestant that comes after the colonization and during the colonialism. These are not like you brought up the civil rights movement. Who are we fighting against? We gathering at a church that they forced us in, fighting against Christians. We weren't just fighting against white people. We was fighting against other Christians who done forced this on our ancestors. That's why I say y'all put the cart before the horse when y'all bring up the civil rights movement, because yes, we organized at the church. 9 times out of 10, a pastor was leading the way. Shout out MLK. 9 times out of 10, you know, we were moving and shaking in those places, in the buildings where we could go unsupervised by white people. But y'all leave out why did we have to do this and who are we fighting? And it was Christians that we're fighting, European and white Christians that forced this on our people. So no, we shouldn't be Christian. Even despite the civil rights movement, we still shouldn't be Christian. Or BJ.
I feel it. Like I say, your opinion is valid in the history, as you can see, or as you just quoted, super valid. I guess I'm making more the argument of, number one, I'm a Christian, and number two, the church has always been influential in helping blacks get where we needed to, whether it was the deacons of defense, whether it was firearms and everything. It's always been the church, and that's what I'm trying to just say. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
that the church
BJ,
still has it. Mm-hmm.
So BJ, we understand all that, right? We get that the church has been there, but the thing is that what Bar is pointing out is that it had to be that because that's a condition that we were put into. We don't need the church to do any of this because the deacons in defense were one thing, but so were the Panthers, and they didn't do that in church. You know what I'm saying? Like I think Huey was an atheist, as a matter of fact. So like it's like the church is not necessary for us to come together as a people. And in my opinion, I'm more of a socially leftist person. I think that the church actually promotes a lot of things that are damaging to us, such as things like misogyny and patriarchy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it pushes a lot of that, which is what I just don't agree with it. At least the patriarchy that white people taught us. You know what I mean? Because Africa had a completely different version of Africa had a completely different version of patriarchy. You know what I'm saying? So it's the way that it was taught to us. That's what the churches pushes a lot now. Now, can it get reformed? Sure, it can get reformed, but then it comes back to the same question. Can we actually show this to be true? And should we actually follow something that came from foreign people that had nothing to do with us? You know what I'm saying? Those were the questions that I would ask. I've always said this as well. If Christianity was allowed to spread into Africa, that wasn't through violence, that wasn't through slavery and colonialism, it wouldn't look like the Christianity we see in America. It won't like the Christianity that we see in Africa right now. It will look like the Christianity we actually see in Jamaica, which is revivalism. That's how it will look like. It will look like revivalism. It will look like Rastafarianism, or a lot of people hate me when I say this, it will probably look like voodoo. You know what I'm saying? It will probably look like a lot like Haitian voodoo. Been connected. It's like they all been connected. It will probably look a lot like Haitian voodoo.
Even the Protestants here, we do hoodoo, right? Exactly. As a working practice. Exactly. I see what you're saying, brother, and I will say I appreciate you, both of you brothers, having me on. My phone's about to die, so I'm trying to cut it short. But it's about to die. Y'all have a great rest of your day, bro. I appreciate we can have a discussion, not have to, you know what I'm saying, get crazy with each other. We can be an idea, learn some things today too. Thank both of you brothers, man. Y'all keep doing what y'all doing. Hopefully, another stream I might come back on, bro.
Hey, not a problem. Hey, we appreciate you, BJ. Come back anytime.
All right, man. Have a good one.
All right, y'all. W guest, y'all. Hey, you see, as we were able to have with BJ a normal, regular conversation. All right. And he's a Christian. I've had Christians up here before where we've had normal, regular conversations that wasn't contentious, wasn't a whole back and forth. So when people talk about how we're rude or how we're stupid or all this other stuff, as you can see, we had a normal 20-minute conversation with another Christian, and it could all be good and well. You know what I mean? But until we get somebody else up, I'm gonna try to, because there's people in my comments bar that are telling that they can't come up for some reason. I'm gonna try to teach them how to get here. Until that happens, go ahead and promote your album, promote everything that you got going on, bro. Go ahead and do that. Let me talk to these folks real quick.
Yeah, so if y'all, if y'all been following me for a minute or you just now tuning in, if you look at my profile picture on TikTok, that's the album cover. But as of right now, the album is still being processed to be released on like the streaming services and stuff. But it is on YouTube right now. I have it all in a playlist. Like if you go to my YouTube channel and you go to playlist, it should be somewhere at the top. The album is called Revelations. It's 25 songs. There are no skips, man. Every track is something. Is something there. I have some good features on the album. I put a lot of work into it, so it's getting good feedback. Go over there, check the album out. It's called Revelations. Check it out. Leave a comment. And when it gets up on the streaming services, I'll have like a listen party where we're gonna basically just be on the stream, listening to the whole thing, and like talking about the songs and stuff like that. I'm just trying to wait for it should be maybe tomorrow. I don't know what they waiting on, but it should be on there tomorrow. So whenever the album gets to the stores, then we'll do like a listen party so people can like go and actually listen to it on wherever they get their music from and stuff like that. So yeah, be on the lookout, man. Yeah, that's it. But as for right now, if you can, man, just go over there and listen to the whole thing through and leave a comment, leave a like, let me know you rock with it. And that means a lot because I'm reading the comments. And if you go and look, I done hearted all the comments and I'm showing you that I'm reading them all. And you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a feel good moment when people come in like, man, this is one of the craziest songs I ever heard. Like, man, I'm glad you dropping this. We need this. That's a good feeling. So go over there, listen to the album, check that out.
The album is good, y'all. It's really, really good. It's actually a great album. It really, we need more rap that criticizes religion, that criticizes the systems that we have today. You know what I mean? Because we have lots of rap that criticizes political systems. We need more rap that criticizes religious systems. That's what we need. You know what I mean? Because I think it's something that can reach more people. Yeah, I mean, but it's a great album, y'all. Yeah, definitely go ahead and check it out. Check out Bar as well. On his channel. He had a series of Everything Wrong with the Bible and then Everything Wrong with the Quran. Great series.
I'm gonna start back posting. I'm gonna start back posting on those. Just I haven't been posting video because I have been working on the album, but now that I'm done with that, I will be posting more videos on YouTube and shit for sure.
Yeah,
go ahead, boss.
Me as well. I have a lot of like I got some people to answer to, some reactions and stuff like that. I got to put out my entire deconstruction story. I'm gonna start a series. Soon. Yeah, I got to put that out. I'm gonna start a series soon on the importance of Black skepticism. I'm gonna definitely start that one out. Understanding the scientific method from a Black perspective, et cetera, et cetera. We definitely need to get into that. We need more Black people in the STEMs. You know what I mean? We need more Black people who think critically. You feel what I'm saying? Because when I started seeing, anti-vax and Dr. Sebi shit, listen, man, you're not gonna cure AIDS with avocados, y'all. Niggas say curing AIDS with avocados, y'all. Like that's just not happening. Hold on, let me just imported baby over on the Deconstruction Junction. Once again, the link is there to join. So if you want to talk, you can go ahead and join up. We out of guests now. We got an empty stage, just waiting for the next person to join. And if you want to talk, go ahead and join up. Hey, Bar, have you ever spoke to God Logic?
No, I haven't spoke to him, but I know who he is. Because right? People, I've watched some of his videos, and because I like to watch Muslims versus Christians and Christians versus Hebrew Israelites and vice versa. I like that. That's what I like to watch in my spare time, and so of course that's where you go to watch that type of stuff. So I done seen him and all that stuff, but he mainly likes to talk to like Muslims and other believers. I don't think a conversation between me and him is gonna last that long because I'm just gonna go straight to Yahweh being made up from the Levant. Therefore, Judaism is false. Therefore, Christianity is false. Therefore, Islam is false, because the religion can't be true if your God is made up mythology. You can't begin to have. We can't talk about Phil, bro. We can't talk about any of that if you're worshiping a God from the Southern Levant. We can't do that. And so I think my conversation with like people who are trying to be philosophical, our conversations won't last that long, because I want to talk about facts and history. They want to talk about, well, how do you ground all moral? I don't actually fucking care about that. So I don't think it'd be fruitful.
Yeah, I mean, he did come to my live one time. He was here. A whole bunch of his fans came in as well, but they came in when I was cussing somebody else out. You know what I'm saying? And I told them, like, and the reason why I did so is because he dehumanized me. You know what I'm saying? So like, the thing is about me is that I don't have a mind of talking to anybody, but the moment you start to get the dehumanization, I'm gonna cuss your ass out. I'm gonna kick you off the stage. You know what I'm saying? Dude actually said I was worse than Epstein because I wasn't a Christian. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you do shit like that, then I'm not gonna fuck with you.
See what I'm saying? Yeah, no. Like, I think if we're trying to because the only way we can have a conversation with somebody like that is if we're going to allow things for the sake of argument. I don't really do that too well. I don't like doing that. I don't want to allow anything for the sake of conversation. I want you to give me evidence and facts that Yahweh is the God of the universe, and then we can go from there. But if you can't do that, what the fuck are we talking about?
Yeah,
literally.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm about as well. Let me just do this. Over on the Black Atheist Coalition, y'all, I'm not reading all the comments there. Y'all, it's a lot of y'all there in the building right now. So I'm not gonna be reading all the comments. I don't know who asked me a question over there, because it's about 7,000 views over on Black Atheist Coalition right now. Big win on the numbers, by the way. Big win. I appreciate that, but I haven't read all the comments. So if you want to go ahead and join in on the debate, Resist Mahmoud, who's in the comments, he's gonna give you the link. But if you can't see the link here on the screen, it says tiny.cc/Volcy Live. It's VOLL, y'all, LCY. That's not an I. I don't know why I always mistake that for an I. It's an L, VOLCY live. Okay, go to tiny.cc/VOLCY live. That's probably why I'm getting it wrong for you. I keep typing an I, and I don't know why I think it's an I for. It's an L. Okay, so go ahead and join that, and you'll be able to speak to me more if you'd like to join. If not, we're gonna just go ahead and close out in the next 5 minutes, I guess, if we don't get another person within the next few minutes. But yeah, so we appreciate y'all. Hey, Bar Anderson asking if he can join again.
Who is that?
The first nigga we was talking to.
Oh yeah, you can join. You know,
yeah, Anderson, you can go ahead and come back if you want. You can come back if you want, Anderson. So all right, y'all, tiny.cc/Volcy Live. That's when you're gonna go ahead and come in to speak to us. And once again, y'all, no preaching. All right. Every single time I look at these comments, you niggas is preaching. Like, we're not about that, man. Like, stop dropping Bible verses. We don't care about the theology. We don't care about none of that shit. We're talking about, should black people be Christian, Muslim, or Hebrew Israelite? Yeah. And for some reason, Christians, they think that they're actually speaking to you and not realizing that they're preaching. There's a difference between preaching and speaking to us. And Imported Baby, I'm not answering any questions. I just see you ask me to answer a question, but I got somebody to talk to, so we'll talk to you later. All right, Anderson, welcome back. What else we got here? We're gonna go ahead and get out of here in a few moments. What else you got?
Nigga, change shirt. You're the same person, brother. You just changed shirt. The same person. So why aren't you a Christian right now?
Sorry, can you say that again?
Why aren't you a Christian?
Because I care about what's true, and it's not true. So
why do you want black people to believe in things that are not true when we don't? Like, you're advocating for something you don't even do. And do you need religion to be a good person? No, I don't think you do, because you're not.
People need religion to be a good person. No, you're asking me a question that I'm not asking. Or you're like saying that that's the question that I'm asking. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, depending on what your circumstances are in life, you may be in a position where it makes more sense for you to be religious, especially be Christian, given the dire circumstances of your life. For instance, people that are living in Haiti that are just trying to make sense of their circumstances. I don't think those people should just stop being religious fully. I think it's in that circumstance, it makes sense. But if you're living in the US or in the West and you're, well, you know, pretty well educated, you have resources, you have access to resources, and you care about what's true, then I think it makes sense for you to not be religious. The point that I was making earlier was simply some religions are more evolved than others. Now, they're all not true, they're all false, but some can still be better, some can be worse. I feel like you guys take a position where, because the religion is more, you know, kind of like emotionally, you know, meaningful to you guys, you kind of want to cling to it more. And my position is, I really don't want to cling to something because it makes me feel good. I think it's about doing what is more practical or what is just more true. So they're all bullshit, right? Like, they're not true. But I think that New Testament Christianity is just more evolved. It's more evolved for a complex number of reasons, but it's more evolved than old ancient African religion. Therefore,
when you say it's more evolved, what does that mean?
That means.
Like, I don't know what you mean by that. When you say more evolved,
so again,
because
like I was saying,
New Testament Christianity is all about sacrificing the son of a deity to himself in order to make a loophole for the rules he created. Like, I'm not sure how that's more evolved than anything else we have.
So like the moral system, so like the moral system of the New Testament, that, you know, all you know, living, you know, creatures are, you know, equal under God. Something like that. That's what someone like, you know, Martin Luther King used to, you know, advance, you know, Black civil rights. And yeah, it's based off of a sacrifice, correct? But because of that, that's why New Testament Christians don't actually perform, you know, child sacrifices. They don't do those things anymore because that religion is just more evolved.
New Testament Christians do not know how to read. They don't read the full Bible, because even in the mythology, Jesus, that's my computer restarting. Even in the mythology, Jesus said that he came for the lost sheep of Israel. We are not the lost sheep of Israel. He said he came to fulfill the old law about the slavery and the unaliving disobedient children, and the women not bleeding on their, if they don't bleed on their first night, unalive them. He came to fulfill that law. He didn't come to according to the mythology. He's not something separate from the Old Testament. He is the son of the God that he is in, and he's in agreement with everything the God said in the Old Testament. The New Testament is not this. It's not, I don't know what you think it is, but it's primitive, it's old, it's antique, it's for desert dwellers, not for the modern man.
It's primitive, it's old, and it's antique, but it's less primitive, it's less old, and it's less antique than the ancient African religions. That's my point.
But so what? Saying,
no, it's not. No, it's not, because it's literally a synchro. Christianity is literally them. They basically, it's like a melting pot of all of the world's, the not all of the world, but the Middle Eastern and North African religions and spiritual systems. Christianity is like a melting pot of all of that shit.
Exactly.
It's not
That's
more.
It evolved,
it's not
and
more.
It has that complexity.
It's not more modern. It's simply combining them all. It's plagiarized from earlier mythology.
Hold on. Anderson, let me ask you this question: what ethical framework exists in Christianity that doesn't exist in ancient African religions?
So again, I don't know the full details of the ancient African religions, but I do know one detail. Most of those religions had some sort of sacrifice built into them. New Testament Christianity, you don't have to.
Nigga.
You don't.
Why are you separating the Old Testament from the New Testament? Why are you doing that?
That's one moral advancement, because modern day Christians don't follow the Old Testament. They follow the New Testament.
That's because they don't know how to read. That's what I was trying to tell you. They're not following the old. Listen to me. What you're basically
millions of
they
people
have listen.
follow the New Testament. I'm being practical. That's what they do. You can say maybe they're wrong.
Yes,
but what do they follow? They follow,
progressive Christianity. Progressive Christianity is when a Christian does not follow the complete word of God. That's the only way you can be a progressive Christian, where it looks modern to black agnostics like yourself. They have to cherry pick specific parts of the Bible so that a person like you can look at them and say, it's a little more modern than all that African spirituality stuff. But they are just as primitive. But remember, they have to cherry pick the Bible in order to fit today's time. Trust and believe, if they could have their way, they would do what they used to do. They can't do that no more.
Can I just add? Can I just add one thing, right? When it comes to the entire thing about sacrificing, right? It's saying that when it comes to African traditional religions, a lot of them require a sacrifice. Some of them do require a sacrifice, but the one of the major ones, which is West African Voodoo, it doesn't necessarily require a sacrifice. You can give an offering to the ancients or to your ancestors, but you don't have to sacrifice anything. Yeah, I mean, so it's that's one of the things where these things are. What I'm saying is that when it comes to this entire moral framework of Christianity, hold on, I'm sorry, Bart, give me 1 second. When it comes to this entire framework of Christianity, it gives a more evolved ethic. What that does is that flattens a lot of the nuance that exists within African traditional religion, because some of them didn't require offerings or sacrifices at all. You see what I'm saying? So we have to before we say that it gives you a more advanced framework, we have to actually understand what do they actually say, because again, some of these traditions were way more metaphorical than they were literal. Yeah, I mean, so sacrifice, even in Christianity right now, they still talk about sacrifice, but in a more metaphorical sense. Like you have to sacrifice your flesh, you have to sacrifice the things you want to do with your friends, you have to sacrifice, etc., 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 just like Jesus sacrificed for us. You see what I'm saying? They still talk about it, but it's in more metaphorical sense. The same thing happens with a lot of African traditional religions. It's not a literal sacrifice, it's metaphorical.
Right. The core thing, like the core of this whole conversation is, what do you get from or for picking up and following a 25-year-old person in 2026, following a old African religion? What is the value for that person's life practically over picking modern day Christianity? What makes that old African religion better, except for that's the religion that your ancestors, or maybe your ancestors came up with, and therefore it's going to make you feel good about it. If we know it's still complete bullshit and it's totally make believe, why?
Because modern day Christianity is rooted in white supremacy. Modern day Christianity is white supremacy, Christian nationalism, literally. If you prime example, yes, it does, because we just seen when CK was unalive, what did all the black Christians say? This man, this is the prime example of what a black person being Christian in today's time look. I can't get it. I'm trying to give you an example. I'm trying to give you an example of what
Charlie Kirk, bro.
We can't say his name on TikTok, but I'm trying to give you an example of what modern Christianity look like for black people. When they unalive that dude, he got popped. Now, mind you, he spent his whole career talking bad about black men, women, and children. And when he was unalive by his own, what did all the black men, women, and children say? I'm Christian before I'm black. They're crying because of Christianity. They are crying over a man being unalive that has talked bad about them for 10 plus years. It's because they're Christian before they're black. So when a white supremacist or a racist or a Christian nationalist or MAGA Trump hat support motherfucker, when they get on the internet and they say crazy bad shit about us, that's harmful, disrespectful, and just not true about us, when they get on these internets and say stuff like that, Christianity allows us to sympathize and band together identify. It allows us to identify with them based on Christianity, despite their racism and their hatred for our people. Christianity is how you get that. You got to get us to worship that white man on that cross, so that when you, as a white man, not you, I'm talking about them, when a white man get on these internet and say stupid shit, it's no harm, no foul, because, well, he's a Christian. So I'm following Jesus. I'm Christian before I'm black. This is 2026 modern Christianity for your ass. Niggas putting religion before the group. That's what you want, because there is no alternative.
So right, Anderson, this is what I was saying before last time, right? One of the issues with modern day Christianity, especially in the West, that it perpetuates white supremacy, and that's not just within the religion; it's within their political beliefs as well. Just like how Bar was saying, when CK got popped, you had a lot of black Christians are now saying that, oh, he was just telling the truth about the black community. And when we bring up that the issues within the black community are things of structural or systemic issues, and not because we're not Christian, you get a whole. I've spoken to them before, even before Charlie Kirk and this entire thing. Even before that happened, I've spoken with black Christians who said that the entire reason Africa is the way that it is, the entire reason why Haiti is the way that it is because we don't have enough Jesus. And we both know that's not true. Like, Haiti has a church on every single block and every single street. We know that, right? Same thing with Jamaica, same thing with Nigeria. These places are not the way they are because we don't have enough Jesus. But you have multiple amount of black people who are saying that, well, America is good the way that it is. Europe is good the way it is. It must be because of Jesus. And they look at Africa, which has a bunch of Christians. Like the Caribbean has a bunch of Christians, and they would say, oh, it's because they're not Christian enough, even though that's bullshit. You see what I mean?
Right. But then would the argument, right? No, and I agree with that. But then would the argument for that be that it makes more sense to be secular or not religious than be atheist, or than to be Christian? I'm not arguing that it's better for someone to be Christian than to be a non-believer. My central argument is it's better to be a Christian than to believe in the ancient African religions, because given that fact that you guys said, how does anything change if these people are believing in ancient belief systems? How? Because
most black Christians believe that. I can answer it.
From believing,
I can answer too.
Yeah, most black Christians today believe that African culture and spirituality is demonic, and they only believe that because of Christianity. We're literally seeing in real time people demonize who they once were and who they come from because of a religion. That is what's the word? Is it deprecate? What's the word I'm looking for?
Self-deprecation.
That's dangerous in a community that does not.
No, how does it make? But the question is, how does it make their life better to not have that belief system? I don't see the connection. You're right. It is self-deprecating to some degree, and that might cause a lot of butthurt. It might make you feel bad because you are overall saying this other religion is better than your religion, and that might make some people upset because you pick someone else over your own. Okay, that's true. I agree. But how does it actually make someone live a life that's more productive, that's just an overall better life worth living if they take on the ancient
Anderson, there's a lot of things that you're not understanding. Being Christian doesn't do that either. That's the thing. Hold on. Let me just answer this question. Being Christian doesn't do that either. Yeah, I mean, the only reason why people are productive is because we live in America. Being Christian doesn't necessarily make you more productive or give you any type of moral framework. Yeah, I mean, you can still follow Ife, Voodoo, Bakanga, etc., and still be a productive, happy person. Religion doesn't give you that. It's what your environment does around you that gives you that. Because there are plenty of people who are hold on, Anderson. There are plenty of people who are Christian right now and whose lives are fucking miserable. Christianity doesn't give you anything other than that. What gives you that is your environment, your community, your economic position, your material conditions. That's what gives you the happiness, the strive, the drive, etc. All right, and your education. All that is what gives you that. You don't need Christianity for that. But your second question is that how would them, not being part of Christianity and being part of ancient an African religion, then replace all of that, right? Number one, I'll give you two answers. Number one, it necessarily wouldn't, Because even if all of Africa today were to go back to their ancient African religions, do European companies still gather the resources? Is neocolonialism still a thing? Will all that still be true? Yeah, it will still be true. It's true under Christianity. It will be true under an ATR. You see what I'm saying? Okay. So that would need to, that part, hold on, that would need to change. But the reason why I think that they will most likely change it is because white-led Christianity or whitewash Christianity has a psychological effect on us. Because I was talking to an African just earlier on this live. The image of Jesus, the image of the God that they worship all across Africa is a white man. All across Africa, the image of Jesus is a white man. Even if you look at into America, the image of Jesus, even in black churches, is a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white man. That image is false. We all know that it's false. But at the end of the day, your psychology is God is a white man. You see what I'm saying? So what happens when harm is caused onto you? What happens when they lie to you? What happens when there's harm being caused by a person that looks like that? You are more likely to acquiesce to their harm or ignore their harm. Why? Because in your mind, that's God. You cannot question him. And we've seen this happen across the African continent, where a person who's blonde hair and blue eyed, or just not even blonde hair, blue eyed, just a white person who walks in and they treat them with the utmost respect. Right now in South Africa, there's a huge issue with xenophobia of them attacking and removing and sometimes even killing their own fellow Africans, like Nigerians, Mozambicans, Somalians, etc. They would attack and almost kill these people just for being a foreigner, not even doing anything illegal, just being a foreigner. But if a white person comes across them, even if that white person is a foreigner, they treat them with the utmost respect. Why is that? And South Africa is one of the most Christianized nations in Africa. You see what I'm saying? The image of a white person being God is psychologically damaging to us. And that's what we have across the Caribbean, across Africa, and across the United States. That's what we have. You see what I'm saying? So how can it make it better? That psychology will no longer exist because the God that you worship looks like you.
Yeah, I think we are making progress here because I agree with what you just said. But the thing is, it's more nuanced than that. For instance, like what you just said, that has been shown in experiments through the Clark doll test, where they had like the black little girls choose dolls, and they would choose like the white dolls over the black dolls back in the 50s, which led to like the civil rights laws. So like what you're talking about, it's not just black people choosing like a white God in it, and because that kind of throws off their psychology. It's literally because blacks are minorities, or I mean, I don't know the true reason why, but there is a preference for whites, generally speaking, for blacks to have a preference of whites over blacks for and this is being done by young black people, and this was found in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and it's been replicated
today.
And that's just part of the and that's just part of the complex world that we live in when we are a minority, and it's just a fact of the world, and it sucks. But I don't think that we're going to be able to change that by just following this, more, primitive religion, because we're still going to be minorities in the country. We're still going to have the white preference for a number of reasons. That's just not going to change. That's just a hard fact that we just have to absorb. I don't think it's going to change it because someone believes a more primitive, more ancient, false belief system. It's just not going to change it.
But the reason why I disagree with that is because spirituality is very, very important to a lot of people, right? And yeah, you're right about the doll test and everything like that. We're a minority in this country, at least. But this something is not just affecting us here in this country; it's also affecting people over in the motherland. But the reason why I disagree that it would change is because, again, you're according to your spirit. If you have a spiritual worldview where the preference of whiteness is the one that's greater, is the one that's more divine, that's going to have a psychological effect. If you no longer have that view that whiteness is greater, whiteness is more divine, and you see that in yourself, you would see that the doll test, it may not happen immediately, but it will start to flip. I 100% believe that you will start to flip if you see spirituality
no
based
way.
more on if the person who looks like you is more divine than somebody else. I think it will start to flip.
You can literally use the Christian like use the person that you're talking about. Jesus was Jewish. He was most Europeans know that Jesus comes from the Middle East. And they and for the past 2,000 years, Europeans still decide to follow a Jewish Middle Eastern person and make them the god of their belief system. But what they did was very unique. They then did lighten his skin and make him look more white. That's understandable. And many black groups do the same thing, right? So it's not true that because you have a God belief or the leader of the religion, when it comes from this other group, that the group that is then subjugated to that God, that they are subjugated because of that religion. It's because of what's happening culturally. It has nothing to do with or very little to do with the religion, because we've seen it. I mean, we've seen it with
Anderson, when black people are oppressed, right, around the world, right? When did it not come with religion? It always came with Christianity or Islam. Always. You see what I'm saying? When we were subjugated in America, it came with Christianity. When we were subjugated in the Caribbean, it came with Christianity. Colonialism came with Christianity. It wasn't Christianity first, then colonialism. It was colonialism with Christianity. You see what I'm saying?
No, because I want to go. Hold on. I want to go back.
It was the economics of it was the economy. It's what happens when a more primitive culture.
We gotta stop saying primitive, bro. They were not primitive. We gotta stop saying that.
You keep. Brother,
no, it's not. Wait, hold on. Wait, primitive. It's more. So hold on. Why were the Africans dominated by the Europeans? Because they had more primitive weapons.
No, the Ashanti had guns, bro. The reason why. Hold on, bro.
This is the same guy that said he don't.
Yeah, let me just answer this question. Europeans met Africa in the 1400s. They didn't get to the scramble for Africa happened in the 1830s. That's 500 years, bro. They didn't just conquer them and bulldoze over them. They couldn't even get into that. The reason why the Europeans were able to get into the interior of Africa is because, number one, the Africans made a mistake with the Atlantic slave trade. Number one, they were brain draining and population draining their people. But number two, because of that, you start to have population collapse and infighting in between kingdoms. If the Atlantic slave trade never happened or didn't happen on the scale which it did, like the Europeans would never have been able to conquer Africa. Remember, it took them 500 years to even start the scramble.
Question is, why could the Africans? Why did they not have the ability to stop Europeans from colonizing them?
They did, bro. Again, it took 500 years for it to happen.
But it still happened. Why?
The reason why I told you the reason why it still happened is because of population collapse and infighting amongst the Africans. That's what happened for.
Wait, but so you're saying because blacks kind of indirectly allowed it to happen, but if blacks
that's not what I said. That's not what I said. That's not what I said. Listen, this is what I'm saying to you. Listen to what I'm actually saying. Listen to what I'm actually saying. Look what I'm actually saying. The Atlantic slave trade caused a population drain. That's number one. But number two, there was infighting amongst the African kingdoms. The Congo had civil wars. The Ashanti Empire had wars in between each other. The other different rivaling factions, the Europeans would arm each other and let them fight it out. That's what happened. You feel me? It wasn't just because niggas were just sitting back and we just got spears. Go ahead and take us over. That wasn't happening, bro. A lot of these African kingdoms had powered weapons. They had guns and shit like that. Like the British went to the war with Ashanti like 4 times. It was only the last time where the British were able to conquer that kingdom. Before that, the Ashanti kicked their ass. You see what I'm saying? That was the issue.
I feel like this conversation, I'm having a conversation with like true believers right now. And it's because you guys are so emotionally wrapped in like the black story because you're black.
Anderson, what I just gave you was facts, bro. What I just gave you was a historical fact. It's a historical fact that the Europeans met Africans in the 1400s and the scramble for Africa didn't happen until the 1800s. Over 400 to 500 years of contact, and they were never able to conquer them. during that 500 years. It's a fact that African kingdoms were able to beat back European kingdoms. That is a fact.
Right.
It is a fact that the Ashanti had weapons and they had guns, and that the way that the British were able to conquer them was through the third war that they had. The first two wars, they were able to do anything.
Okay,
It is a fact that it is a fact that the reason why the Portuguese were able to get into Congo and conquer them is because Congo was going through a civil war and it weakened them. These are all historical facts, bro.
Okay, that's fine. But the core point is literally at the end of the day, one group colonized another group. Yes or no?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that they did it because Africans were dumber or more primitive. That doesn't mean that.
So I didn't say that they were dumber, but the weapons that they had were insufficient to protect their land and their people, i.e., they were more primitive. I mean, let's say, hold on. Okay, hold on.
What do you mean by primitive? That's what I want to say. What do you mean by primitive? Because primitive is very, very insulting to these people.
I know that's the you are in your feelings about it. That's what I'm saying.
But what I'm saying is that what I'm saying, Anderson, is that primitive says that something is inferior or not advanced, and the Africans were advanced.
Relative to something relative. It's relative.
Awful, but that doesn't make the people primitive, bro.
Relative to the other one, it is more primitive because you can't fight a war. I mean, if Haitians,
Anderson, this is what I'm trying to say. Words have meaning, bro. You just can't say that they're more primitive. Like, for example,
I can say.
Hold on. Wait, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying to you. I am stronger than a 5-year-old. Is a 5-year-old primitive because I'm stronger than him?
It's not.
No, right? Exactly. That's what I'm saying. No, it's not. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like we have to these things. Hold on. Words mean things, bro. When you say something is primitive, you're saying that they're inferior, and they weren't.
No, I am saying that yes, the weapons that the Africans had were inferior to the weapons that the Europeans had, which is why the Africans were colonized. That's the way the world is.
They were colonized.
Okay, so hold on.
They were colonized due to infighting and population drain. Again, with the weapons. Hold on. Let me ask you a question, Anderson. Let me ask you a question again. Anderson. Let me ask you a question again. Why did it take the Europeans 500 years to do the African slave trade if they were just or the scramble for Africa if Africans were just more primitive in weapons? It took them 500 years.
Because they weren't technically, I don't think they were trying to conquer Africans. What they were trying to do is they were trying to monetize a system of the slave trade. So they just wanted to get what they wanted to do. They wanted to get what they wanted, which was not to take over Africa per se, but to use the Africans, to just make more money. And they had the resources and the tools to do it. For instance, so
Anderson, let me point something out to you. When the Europeans first started doing the Age of Discovery, the Portuguese and the Spanish split the world in two. They said that this is your part of the world, this is our part of the world. So they were conquerors, and we know they were conquerors because Christopher Columbus himself said there's a whole landmass over there that we can conquer. He told the Spanish that. So they were conquerors. You know what I mean? But they couldn't do that to Africa for 500 years. So if they were these advanced conquerors and they were not able to conquer Africa for 500 years, what does that tell you?
Okay, the simple question is, if the tribes in Africa went to war with European countries in the 1500s, 1600s, 1700s, if they went to war, which they did, who would win? The Europeans would win because they had more advanced weapons. The reason you can't say that because you don't like that fact because it hurts your feelings. I understand it, but again,
Anderson, it's not about hurting my feelings, bro. I know they had more advanced weapons. I said that, but they still weren't able to to win until the 1830s. What happened in the 1830s for them to win?
Until who cares? They won. They won.
All right, but Anderson, what I'm trying to point out to you is that even though the Europeans had cannons and more powerful weapons, the reason why Africans were able to beat off or to stop colonialism is because they had the population and they had more cohesive kingdoms. Once those kingdoms started to weaken through the Civil War, due to population collapse, et cetera, That's the only reason the Europeans were able to take over. It wasn't just because
why didn't the tribes work together?
What?
Why didn't the African tribes work together to stave off
the kingdoms?
The white Europeans? Yeah.
Because like it's nuance. It's people, right? People are not always going to get along. Wars are always going to happen. Civil wars are always going to happen. Like I'm not sure what you're trying to ask, because it's like these kingdoms still had rivalries, right?
Yeah. So the core answer to that question is it doesn't matter. They didn't, and they lost. And because
we know that they lost, but the thing I'm trying to get to is that they didn't lose simply because they didn't have some sort of moral, ethical framework or weren't advanced enough. They lost.
It was because they were not advanced enough. That's exactly why they lost.
The weapons were the Europeans had better guns. Yeah, they had better guns. No one denies that.
Right.
No one denies they had better guns. But yeah, they had better guns. No one denies they had better guns. What I'm saying is that the Africans didn't lose simply because they had better guns. That's very simplistic. It was very complicated why they lost.
It's not simply because they had better guns. It's overall you have an advanced culture that interacts with a less advanced culture.
But they weren't less advanced. That's what I'm saying. They weren't less advanced. They were not.
Come on. This is
the Africans were not less advanced, bro. This is whitewashing history. Anderson, this is whitewashing history. This is whitewashing history. The only thing, Anderson, hold on. The only thing that the Europeans had over the Africans was more advanced weapons. That's it. When it came to everything else, the Africans knew about all that stuff, bro. They had astronomy, they had mathematics. Matter of fact, mathematics was so intuitive to Africans that a lot of them didn't even write it down. Like European historians will even tell you, hold on. European historians will even tell you that the way that a lot of these cities were built were mathematic, and the kids knew about it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like they knew about all this stuff already.
So are you suggesting that the math that they had in England and in Germany and in France in the 15, 16, and 1700s,
they had in Africa?
For the most part, they had calculus. They had what Newton did. They had that in Africa.
No, they didn't have calculus. Calculus was invented by Newton.
Oh, right. So that's what I'm talking about. You need calculus for the more complex math that gets built off of it.
Did they have fractals? Did they have fractal geometry?
Okay, I mean, I didn't say that they didn't have fractals.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Like they had fractal geometry, they had algebra, they had trigonometry, they had all that. Calculus was invented by Newton. No one's denying that. But they had mathematics in Africa.
I didn't say they didn't have math. That's not what I'm saying.
All right, so they were not less advanced than the Europeans then.
No.
When you say less advanced, what do you mean?
Okay, if one culture, by less advanced, I mean the science, the like the government system.
All right, what science and government system that existed in Africa that the Europeans were more advanced with?
So I don't know the details of what the systems look like.
There you go. I know some of those details, and I can tell you they were not less advanced.
So you're telling me, hold on. So you're telling me that the political system that they had in England in 1775, the same political system, or not the same political system, but the one that was then transported here to the U.S., you're telling me that
Africans had a version of it. Yes,
had something
similar. Yes, like Botswana had democracy. You realize that, right? Now that they had a democracy, they had something that was a monarchical democracy, meaning if the king lost the confidence of the people, they can vote the king out. Europeans didn't think about that until hundreds of years later. They had systems of democracy. They had systems of kingdoms. They had administration. They had ministers. They had chiefdoms. They had councils. They had all that, bro. All that existed in Africa. The only reason we don't know about it now is because, again, the Europeans won. And they're the ones who write the history. They're the ones who say that we were all over there in mud huts and chiefdoms and shit like that, and we didn't have the advances that they have. All that's bullshit. But they did have the advances that they have.
So I'm pretty certain that the written language, like long form text, was like very late to be to be used in Africa. I don't know when, but I'm pretty sure it was much later than like a lot of other nations. I don't know how you can have a complex system if you don't have like long form written language like they did in.
There were plenty of ancient society that didn't have long form written language, bro. The Incas didn't have long form written language either. But when it comes to that, that's also incorrect because of Sabidi. Sabidi is something that's ancient. Sabidi existed in Nigeria for thousands of years. What I'm saying is that everything that you believe that about Africa's being less advanced all came from white people, bro. It's bullshit. They were advanced.
I think, I guess what I'm saying is there's a type of thinking, again, that I think I use to leave Christianity. And that thinking is this. I'm not going to look at the world from the perspective of a Christian or from a black person or from a man. I just want to know what's true. And if it's not true, I'm not going to link, my self-esteem to it. So if I find something that maybe hurts my feelings or I don't like, I'm just going to go with the wave. I'm just going to go with what's true. Based off my understanding and what I've read and what I've learned, that has made me go, Christianity is not true, regardless of what it feels like for me to deconvert. I've also applied that same thinking to like a lot of different areas. And once you start doing it for why did Africa get, taken over by Europe? What was happening when it comes to the advancements of, science, medicine, technology? They were simply less advanced than Europe, which largely contributed to them being taken over.
Let me ask you a question, Anderson. Let me ask you one last question. Let me ask him one last question. Let me ask him just one last question. Anderson, let me ask you one last question. Hold on, Anderson. Let me ask you one last question. Anderson, let me ask you one last question. Let me ask you one last question.
Can I just finish my thought? Because you guys cut me off.
You already said what was going. Okay, so what was your thought? Go ahead and finish your thought. I'm gonna ask you one last question. Go ahead, finish your thought.
Promise last thought. So I'm just saying that type of thinking, I feel like you guys do apply it to religion, but you don't apply it when it comes to black like African systems and belief. You kind of like elevate it, and it's kind of becoming like your new religion, which is like just like a semi-black power belief
Anderson,
system.
Okay, Anderson. I knew that's what she was going. I knew that's what she was going to do. Anderson, let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Did the Africans have C-sections before the Europeans?
I don't know.
They did. Did they have anesthesia before Europeans?
Did they understand the root cause of what caused someone to become sick?
No, that's not what I asked you. That's not what I asked you, Anderson.
Did they have germ theory?
Hold on, Anderson. Listen to my question. Did they have anesthesia before Europeans?
Dude, did they have germ theory? You're talking about a micro medical practice. Germ theory.
Okay. You want to go there? You want to go there? That was my third question, actually. Who came up with inoculation?
I'm talking about germ. I don't know the
Anderson. I know you're talking about germ theory. Listen to my question.
Yeah.
Inoculation, meaning inoculizing yourself against pathogens. Correct. The Africans knew about it. Right. So yeah, they didn't write down germ theory like there's little microscopic things in the air. But at the end of the day, they knew how germs passed on to somebody else, which is why you never see an African kingdom have smallpox, because they knew how to protect themselves against it. The Europeans never did.
That's not that advanced. Anderson,
this is crazy. This is crazy to me, Anderson. This is crazy to me, Anderson. You're saying that the Africans didn't have the advances that the Europeans have, but inoculation, the thing that saved millions of lives, Africans figured that out hundreds of years before they met Europeans, but they weren't as advanced. That sounds insane.
I think you're as insane. You're saying that Africa was as advanced in the 15, 16, and 1700s.
Yes, they were. Even according to the Europeans themselves. They had all this shit, bro. The reason why we don't know about it is because the Europeans burned it down.
I think that's just a crazy statement. I think that's a crazy statement.
Bro, European historians going into Africa have written about how advanced it was. Have you ever even heard of Walls of Benin? You heard of that, right?
No, I have not heard of
exactly what I'm talking about. So how can you say that they were less advanced when the walls of Benin were longer and more extensive and more detailed than the Wall of China? That's according to European historians.
Okay, can I just
what are we saying, bro?
If you learned that the African nations were not advanced, how would that affect your worldview moving forward? If you learned, not that you do believe it, but if you did believe it, how would that affect how you see Africans and
it won't affect it either way. The Europeans still fucked up our development. What are we saying? Africa was developing without Europeans. We had advanced developments independent of them and before them. So it was still advancing. That wouldn't matter. Even if it wasn't advanced in some ways, it was still advancing. That wouldn't matter.
But most cultures, I mean, if you look at, like most cultures throughout the world, the growth and the advancement was happening much faster than it was in West Africa. And
no, it wasn't, bro. Again, it was not. It was not, bro.
I mean, the book by
Anderson, listen to what I'm saying to you. Listen to what I'm saying to you, because a lot of what you're saying is white propaganda, bro. It was not. Africans were not just these people who are living in mud huts and didn't know what stars were. That's not what was going on, bro.
That's not what I said. I didn't say that they were living in mud huts. That's not. I've never said that.
All right, so I'm not sure what you're trying to say here. You're saying that the Africans were advancing less than other cultures. They weren't, bro. This is propaganda. That's what I'm saying.
The pace of evolution of the culture.
It was the same, bro. It was the same. It was the same. It was the same. I'm telling you. What you're repeating is white propaganda. The technological advancements were the same. The only thing that wasn't in weapons, because Europe was always in war, so they advanced their weapons a lot faster. The Inca didn't have guns either, right?
Okay, hold on. Let me ask you a question. If Europeans never took over Africa, do you think Africans would have developed tools to figure out the Big Bang?
Yes.
That's wild. Okay.
Yes.
I'm learning something then, because I feel like you're really serious. So let me trust in that. Okay. So I'll do more research. I kind of left history, so to speak, especially like that history. So but okay, that's wild. So you think that
that's not wild at all?
In Africa,
the Africans
would have had the ability to invent technology and tools and science.
Yes. Why not? Why not? Yes.
Because I feel like they did not have the infrastructure for astronomy or
they had astronomy. Africans had astronomy. Look up the University of Timbuktu. They had astronomy.
Okay. So I'm learning. Maybe I'm wrong. So I'll look into this. Maybe I'm wrong. But I
look up the universities of Timbuktu and the books and the mathematics they had in there. They had astronomy, bro. People used to go to Timbuktu universities to learn, especially in the Muslim world. It was one of the most important places for intellect in the Muslim world, Timbuktu. They had all this, man. I'm telling you, everything that you're saying about Africa, about how less advanced it was, is all European white supremacist bullshit. I'm telling you that right now. I used to believe the same thing you're saying.
But that's my fear. Okay. But my fear is, like, if I find evidence that conflicts with what you're saying, you're going to say it's just white bullshit. Like, and because you're kind of like locked into it has to be true because you want it to be true.
I'm not locked into it has to be true. I understand. I understand that Africa was taken over, that the Europeans had the printing press, and they were able to spread knowledge a lot more easier than Africans were. I get all that. One of the big mistakes Africans made was not spreading literacy to the entire citizenship. Only the top echelon had literacy, and Africans didn't. That was a mistake. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm not saying that they had everything that the Europeans had. Europeans had more literacy amongst the population because of the Gutenberg printing press. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying that, and they were able to spread their knowledge a lot more easier. Africans should have copied that, right? So we're not saying that they didn't make mistakes or they weren't some places where they could have been improved, but to say that they didn't have nothing that the Europeans had or super less advanced than them, no, man, that's bullshit. There's a lot more that you don't know about.
Okay, maybe, and I'm totally open that there's more that I don't know, but based off my understanding of things, I think that you're just being like emotionally hijacked because it doesn't feel good to kind of absorb these facts. But a lot of Christians do the same thing. They go, "You're telling me that there's no."
You talk
Jesus,
a lot, but I haven't heard.
This is 20.
Wait, you talk a lot, but I haven't heard you. Like, what is your basis for what you're saying? Also, have you ever heard of the Dogon people? Do you know who the Dogon people are? their history of cosmology.
I mean, once you get into
sir, listen.
Yeah, so my core thesis,
sir, I'm just asking you a question.
Can I answer one?
No, sir, listen. You interrupt every time someone is talking. I don't know if it's because you have a delay, but I've been listening a long time, and you do that every time Volcy starts talking. Have you ever heard of the Dogon people?
No.
Okay. Why haven't you never heard of the Dogon people? Is it because they're not European?
I mean, maybe because I mean,
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, I don't know much
All
about
right.
European history either, but I know like kind of general.
Well, you, I
Western
mean,
history
you
because I
know
was born
enough
in
to
the
say
West,
you
and
niggas is
that's what I
dumb
was
and
taught.
everything you got was from Europeans. I don't understand.
I mean, I
That's how
totally
it
never said
sounds.
that.
You know enough to say you niggas are
I never
stupid and
said that,
everything
but
I got it from Europeans, but you don't know who the Dogon people are?
It sounds like you're butthurt. It sounds like you're butthurt.
No, actually, sir, I'm not butthurt. I'm asking you a question. This has nothing to do with me being butthurt. This has nothing to do with me being butthurt at all. I have no. I mean, I don't, sir. Let's. Why are you talking while I am talking? Why are you talking while I am talking? Why are you talking while I am talking?
Go ahead, Lords. I muted him.
What are you talking about? Whose butt hurt? I'm asking you, have you heard of the Dogon people? You said no. And then I asked you, is it because they're not European? And then you said probably. What am I supposed to do with that kind of answer?
I mean, that's correct. But you also said that I said that Black people are stupid or something like that.
I mean, that is the gist of what you're saying. That's the gist of what you're saying, right? You should read that's literally the gist of what you're saying. So much so to the point where you just told Volcy, that you think that he's building a whole religion around, right? You said, I think you guys are just building a religion around like pro-Black, whatever, right? That's what you're saying. I don't understand that you have implied that the entire time. That's what you have implied the entire time. I'm not the only one that thinks
primitive is the word he used. Anything dealing with Black people.
Let's say that is the case, right? Let's say that is the case. What does that have to do with Black people should not be Christian, Muslim, or BHI? Let's say everything you're saying is true. What does that have to do with the topic?
Because so the way we got here is, my point was, so I'm an atheist, but my point is that some people, I think, should be an atheist if you have the luxury to have that belief and you care about what's true. But if you're living in a very dire situation, like a place in Haiti, I don't think that you should be an atheist. I think that you should be religious. Now the question becomes, which religious sect should you follow? I think it makes more sense to follow something like Christianity, because I think it's a more modernized, more advanced religion because of its history when compared to the ancient African religions.
How could it be a more advanced religion? What is the difference between, let's say, what's the difference between, let's say, Christianity and, I don't know, Zoroastrianism?
So with the one caveat, I don't know, every African religion and the full details of every African one. Most people don't. I mean, most of the religions I don't think were even written down.
So how can you say it's more advanced if you don't know the full? How can you say it's more advanced if you don't know the full details? It's more modern.
So I need to know the details of every religion, every ancient African religion, before I can make that statement.
Well, no. So what are you comparing it to? Is what I'm asking. What are you comparing it to say that it's more?
Yeah, I'm comparing it to. Yeah. So my point is, right. So my point is, certain religions, especially the New Testament Christianity, there's parts about its moral system to me that seems more advanced.
Breaking up, you going in and out.
Human sacrifice or the lack of animal sacrifice, because Jesus is kind of like the symbolic sacrifice. That to me is a jump in a moral system, which makes like the New Testament Christianity more advanced than a lot of other religions already, because you don't need to have sacrifice, child sacrifice, sheeps or mammals. You don't need to take part in that. That's one. Two is the core of Christianity. It's about life being very difficult and being hard, which is why you then have to praise Jesus and you have to get saved, because life is hard. I think that life is hard. So when you have a religion that's based on life being hard, you kind of do this advancement, because the human condition is that
life is not hard. I don't think life is hard.
I mean, it may not be for you, but for most humans throughout human history.
Well, guess what? If life is hard for you, but again, you said I think life is hard. Wait a minute. Hold up. You said I think life is hard. You added a caveat when I said life wasn't hard. You said, well, to you. You didn't say that for you. You didn't say I think life is hard for me. Why when I say life is not hard, you add a caveat? Well, to you, it's not hard. You didn't say that when you just said, I think life is hard. Why didn't you say to me?
I'm saying that the human condition, I think that the human condition is that of, generally speaking, it's a very difficult situation, generally speaking, for most humans to be human and to live for the past 250,000 years. And when you have a religion that's kind of the forefront of how it starts, and then it says, okay, now we need to get out of this very tough situation that we're in. That's also
how does this religion help people get out of the tough situation they're in? How does this? Can you give me empirical evidence? Wait a minute. Can you give me empirical evidence that this religion helps people get out of the tough situations that they're in?
Sure. So pretty much all of the evidence, all of the data shows that people who are more religious tend to be less depressed, and they commit suicide.
Can you show me? Can you show me that study?
Much lower rate.
Can you show me that study?
People that are secular.
Here's the thing.
Can you show me that study?
You can literally just go.
Hold on.
Can you show me the study? No, I'm not doing anything. You said it, so you should have the study. Can you show me, sir? Okay, give it to me.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, I know what he's talking about, right? And that's something that apologists are kind of put out there.
No, but Volcy, I want him to give it to me. Okay. I don't want him to tell me I should be able to go look it up. He said it. You should have it on fingertips.
I mean, I feel like, if Volcy is also aware of it.
I don't want you to mean. I just want the study. I don't want anything else.
We're getting too much into our feelings right now. Are we trying to have?
Sir, this has nothing to do with my feelings. I'm not talking about feelings. I am asking you to be able to back up what you said. That's all I want. I want you to be able to back up what you say. This has nothing to do with my feelings. That's why I don't care how you feel. I only care what you can prove. I'm not talking about feelings right now.
He tried to pour this shit on me. Talking about feelings. Look.
Well, probably out of everybody, I'd give less than what a bitch feel. I could care how you. That's how you feel about anything.
You can tell how he delivers. He's used to talking for and with white people. That's why he instantly put Africa down. Religion don't come from Africa.
No, wait a minute. No, I don't want him to get distracted. I want him to tell me, excuse me, y'all. I want him to tell me about the thing. I don't give a fuck about that. I know a bunch of anti-black people. Most of them are men. But I just want to know.
Sadly.
I dropped the link.
No, so what's the link?
Hold on. I dropped it in the comments. I have it here in the comments. I dropped the link in the comments because he's dropping in the chat. So I dropped the link in the comments. I know exactly what study he's talking about too. But you have to take into consideration, Anderson, that a lot of this has to do with community as well, right? If you have more of a community, you're probably going to be less depressed. It's not just the religion. I think even the study pointed this out too, where they said to be careful of saying that, you know, it's simply the religion that gives them that. It's more about the community around them.
Yeah, that would make sense to me. Yeah, no doubt.
So is that what the article says?
Yeah, I'm bringing up the article right now because I the last time from what I recall when I read it, that's what it was. It was more about the community around them, not just being part of the religion. Yeah, give me 1 second. Let me just take a look at the abstract here in the discussion.
And like the idea is.
So when I read through it,
it's harder
when I got to the bottom,
people that kind of
basically religion makes it easier to cope. That's basically what this study is showing. You know, it's gonna be lower rates of I don't want to say the S word, you know, where you unalive yourself. It's lower rates of that and lower rates of, you know, it's almost like religion. It helps you cope in your awareness of what's going on around you. You're kind of desensitized to it because you don't give a fuck about the real world at that point. You're more focused on when you're more focused on the afterlife. The whole world burning down in front of your eyes doesn't really have that same effect on you because you're going to a house not made by human hands. If you understand what I'm saying,
yeah, no doubt, Lord, no doubt. Yeah.
So basically,
so he's saying
you're talking that it is the largest exercise in displacing oneself away from their reality, and it gives them something that they can focus on rather than something within themselves that is organic. They have to have something that is fabricated, not about them, not completely of them, and put all of their hope, intention, and I guess pray intention in it, and it just happens. But it doesn't promote them to create any type of society towards where you don't create that type of response in your citizens, right? All this talk that Christian, look, I don't know if you know, but Christianity is evil, homie, for real. And you one of those type of people that don't like to make it own up to its history. I hear the way you talk. I hear the way you speak. I hear the way you measure. I hear how you hold metric. It's clearly Eurocentric, right? Probably one of them self-hating black people grew up in a motherfucking
But wait a minute. Can we talk about what the conclusion of this study?
I'm still talking religion. I'm still talking religion, sis. I'm still talking religion.
No,
but
can I respond to particular?
No, can we talk about what the conclusion of this study says?
Yeah. Can we pause real quick? Let's talk about what the conclusion of this study says. I appreciate you. I'm not sure how to say Rohingya. Is that how you say your name? Rohingya, son? Rohish. All right.
Rohingya. You know,
I couldn't see it, bro. All right. Rogish. All right. Thank you, Rogish.
Using more sophisticated techniques and general hospital samples, we have observed that while lower religiosity scores were associated with higher S word, no such correlation could be established between higher religiosity scores, which may suggest the presence of a plateau phenomenon after a certain level of religiosity, which also accounts for the conflicting views on the effects of religiosity on coping and
S word.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Such a phenomenon has not been demonstrated in any prior study, with most studies showing either no correlation or association or showing frank, direct or indirect correlation. Further research and investigation are needed to find exact correlation between religiosity and particularly in a diverse country as India. So they didn't find a correlation. They didn't find an exact correlation between religiosity and S word, because they say further research and investigation are needed to find the exact correlation between.
I mean, they didn't find a causation, but there's a correlation, and there's a bunch of studies on.
No, they didn't find a correlation. It says it. It says further research and investigation are needed to find. Why don't you want me to read this? Further research and investigation are needed to find the exact correlation between religiosity and S, particularly in a diverse country as India. They didn't find an exact correlation. This is what this is what the conclusion of their study says. They didn't find an exact correlation.
Yeah, so
they didn't find one.
So this is one study, but if you look at like the meta-analysis, you see the general direction. The more religious you are, the less likely you are to be depressed, and vice versa. It's not a causation.
Sir, this study doesn't say that. It says they didn't find an exact correlation between religiosity and the S word, particularly in a diverse country as India. They didn't find it.
Do you know what a meta-analysis is?
I do, but I asked you for a study that says it, and you said that this study did, and this study does not.
Yeah, I Googled. Okay, I Googled, and it's the first thing that popped
Okay, well,
up. So
find another one. Find another one, because I want one that says what you said it says.
Exactly,
That's what I want.
Yeah. Find me one too.
I mean,
I asked you for one that says what you said it says, and this literally says that further research and investigation are needed to find the exact correlation between religiosity and the S word, particularly in a diverse country as India.
All right, yeah, hold on, guys. Let me just say one last thing, all right? Because Anderson, you don't have to go through it, because I went ahead and Googled the entire thing and meta-analysis, and here's what what it found. Right? Yes, highly religious or spiritual people experience lower rates of depression, and you know what the key aspects were that they said that reason why that is: social connection, coping mechanisms.
Mm-hmm.
So having a social connection, having community, and being able to cope, those were the reasons. All right. But again, we have to ask ourselves a question. Do you need religion to have coping mechanisms? Do you need religion to have social connection? You don't. So if we're able to create healthy communities within the secular sphere, which is what I'm aiming to do, something that I want to do, and shout out to Durante Lamar, he also wants to do it as well. If we have that, then we wouldn't need this, would we? The only reason why this exists is because the majority of the world is religious. But if the majority of the world is not religious, that doesn't mean that the majority of the world is going to become depressed. All that means that we're going to find other ways to have social connections. Humans are social creatures, bro.
No. Now, what you just said, like, I agree with 99.9% of it, except for what I said, and I said it several times. There are places in the world where I don't think, for instance, like in Haiti, I don't think you can just take out the supernatural part of their system because their life is so hard. And you can just say, hey.
But how has the supernatural part helped in Haiti? How has the supernatural part helped Haiti? Can you tell me how the supernatural part has helped Haiti? How has it helped them? How has it advanced them? How has it made Haiti better?
Yeah, because we talked about this last time, and I told you. Go ahead, Rogish. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm saying he keeps saying Haiti. That's how you know he has an agenda.
Yeah,
he hasn't. You haven't presented another nation. What? Name another nation who has similar circumstances like Haiti who could benefit from them accepting your solution.
I think he keeps pointing out Haiti. I'm sorry, I think he's pointing out Haiti because he found out that I'm Haitian, and I think he's also Haitian. Was it your dad or your mom who's Haitian, Anderson?
Both.
It's both. Okay. So that's why he keeps pointing. That's why he keeps.
Yeah, but
still though.
Can he tell me how religion has helped Haiti?
That's what I want to know. Yeah.
Can he tell me the positive impact that religion has made in Haiti?
I'm not saying that religion helps Haiti. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that.
So now you're saying religion doesn't help.
I'm talking about the individual people. Okay. If you are living,
but sir, who makes up a nation? A nation is made up of whom?
We're talking about depression.
A nation is made up of individuals, correct?
We're talking about depression. That's what I'm talking about.
I know, but if a nation is made up of individuals, and if this religion helps these individuals not to be depressed, I would assume that I would see this, right?
And you do see
this
it.
would be borne out in the data in which these individuals have to interact with things, right? I would see that borne out some kind of way.
That's exactly
right.
what you
can't tell me that the individual people get better, but the nation doesn't, because the nation is just a group of individuals, right?
No, it's way more complex than that. You can
no,
talk
it's
about
not, sir. Let me ask you a question. If everybody disappeared off the face of America, what would happen? The nation is the individuals. So I would assume that if the individuals get better, then the nation should get better also. Right?
The technology and the science and the core institutions may not advance because of a deeper global socioeconomic, effect that the
so religion has no effect on this global socioeconomic effect. It cannot help you with that. Is that what you're saying? That religion can't help you with that? So what good is it if it can't help you with that?
I'm talking about it helps the individual people live longer.
Okay, so how about this? What is it that is what is it that it is not helping those who are the constructors of society to create infrastructure that doesn't cause such despair within the people, such need or a necessity to have to cope, to have to use.
He said it makes them live longer. If that is the case, we should see
by not killing themselves in fuck ass societies, in sick ass societies that are
no. But what I'm saying is, if that's the case,
to enrich to the point that they're supposed to enrich.
No, but if that's the case, we should see that more religious countries, their people live longer. We should see that, correct? Borne out in the data.
No,
that's what I'm talking about. The data. We should. No.
He said
don't
no,
interrupt. No, you just said it should help them live longer. So we should see that these uber religious countries, these people are living longer, correct? Right?
You being more religious
and
you being more religious does not help you get the medicine that you need.
No, but you just said it helps them live longer. Oh my God. You just said it helps them live longer.
Okay. So Anderson, hold on. Everybody pause. Okay. Let's do this. Hold on.
Literally can't.
Anderson, I got you. We're going for 3 hours, but Anderson, we're gonna let you go, right? But you have to be very, very careful, especially when we're talking to Lords. All right, because Lords is gonna hang you onto your every single word. All right, you said that religion is going to help them live longer. Obviously, that's not true. Okay, because like you said, your religion is not going to help you get your medication. All right, so let's go to what you actually meant. Correct yourself. When you say that that somewhere like a Haiti, like a Jamaica, like a Nigeria, etc., is going to help them. How so? Because the most religious countries out there are literally third world countries that live in horrid conditions. So religion is not helping them in that point. How exactly does it help them? And be careful with your words because she's gonna jump on you. I'm telling you. Go ahead.
This is the nuanced point.
Go ahead.
So the countries are, like just like a wasteland, right? There's no type of infrastructure. Now that means that you can't get the medicine that you need, which means that.
So then the religion does not help them live longer.
Hold on, let me finish. I need to be able to finish the point. Now, when you take, let's say, 2 people, because they live in that area, they're both going to live less long than they would, regardless if they're religious or not, because of where they're living. My point is, if you do make the person less religious compared to the person that is more religious, that person will live a shorter life and be more.
But that's not what you said. I'm not going to let you dodge. I'm not going to let you dodge accountability because motherfuckers want you to do that. That is not what you said. You said religion helps them live longer. That is what you said. Those were the exact words out of your mouth. That is not what you said.
But if you,
that's not what you said, and I'm not going to let you dodge accountability.
I'm trying to clarify my point because it's nuanced. But every time I try and complete a sentence,
it's not nuanced. You said religion helps them live longer. And I said, if that is the case, then we should see that the most religious countries have longer life expectancies. If that's the case, it should be borne out in the data.
Again, the way you set it up is a simplistic way of setting up what I'm saying, and it's going to lead to the conclusion that you're.
I'm trying to give you a chance, bro. I'm really trying to give you. I was really trying to give you a chance, bro. All right, you could have just said, Anderson. Listen, you could have just said what I said was incorrect. You could have just said that, bro. You really could just said that.
No, it's just what she's saying is wrong, and literally every time I try
what you said was wrong to what you said. You said religion helps people live longer. That's what you said. I didn't say that shit. You did.
If you have someone who is religious and someone who is not religious, the person who both of them will live less long than they would because of where they're living. My point is right here. This is the point. The person that is more religious is less likely to be depressed and commit suicide relative to the person in that place that is less religious.
So why is suicide such the issue? Why is that the only mortality factor that you bring up that you might have to utilize religion to guard against?
Because of the psychological factor.
The fuck? Religion don't make people change their BMI rate or adjust their cholesterol. Jesus don't ever tell none of these big motherfuckers to put that chicken down or whatever. So it'll help them to do what? Save your life. Don't jump off the bridge.
I think
but Anderson, the problem what you're saying, Anderson, the big problem what you're saying, Anderson, hold on, give me one second. The big problem what you're saying is that again, when we look at these research data, right, all it does is they talk about social connection and coping mechanisms. But if a non-religious person who lives in a third world country has social connection and has coping mechanisms, then you won't see their suicidality rate go up or down any more than the religious person. Right now, we have no data, no research into non-religious people in these societies and if they're more depressed or not. We don't have that type of data.
Right. Now again, this is why Volcy, I feel like if you could just mute her because that's a legitimate point and that's a legitimate critique. Now let me respond to that.
No, bitch, you don't mute me because of some shit you said. You must be lost your mind or something. You said that. Right. I didn't say that. Volcy, why do I need to be muted?
What you're saying is true.
Why do I need to be muted?
My point is, and to respond to what you're saying directly, Volcy, is my hypothesis is that when you get a place where life is as hard as it is, it's going to be difficult to have a group, like a network or some sort of belief system, some sort of activity that can kind of galvanize people the way that religion can when so many people are living in poverty. That's why it's my hypothesis and I don't know, but I think maybe in a place like New York City, you can say, hey, we can take out religion and we can start doing meetups where people are playing basketball and people are going to like movie nights and they're going to bars and they're hanging out and like the quality of life and happiness is going to stay the same. But I think in a place where people are dying at the rate that they are and there's as much suffering that they have in Haiti or places that are that poor, I think it's going to be hard to find the equivalent social glue that something like religion can provide. I don't think you can just remove the religion, replace it with something else and have that same type of social glue and social network.
The West has that religion and yet are still dealing with mortality numbers through suicide and a lot of other unnecessary avenues. High than a motherfucker. It has nothing to do with the religion. So let me ask you something. What do you get from the religion that
I'm not religious. Like, I'm not religious.
What do you mean? So you fighting up here hard as fuck for it though?
Because again, my points are nuanced.
That's what we're trying to get to.
Ain't no fucking you're not an atheist. You ain't no atheist. You worship white people.
But this goes back to what Lord
fucking type. You ain't no fucking atheist. You one of these black people that worship Peckerwood.
We all
I know how
for a minute. Anderson, please be quiet.
Hold on. Pause for a minute.
This is what.
Pause for a minute, please. Go ahead.
This goes back. This goes back to what we talk about on a daily basis when I go live. It sounds like you're simply saying people who are religious, they're going to live longer because they're not depressed, because they have a coping mechanism. But they're still they're just going to live longer and suffer and be able to cope with it. But them being religious is not going to change anything, which goes back to what Loris is talking about. You want people to live longer and be able to handle the suffering because of the coping mechanism. And we're saying we want life to get better for these people, period. And it's not going to get better with them practicing the religion that has caused it. Because in this context, this nuance, we're talking about black people and Christianity. All of the issues that we're facing in the United States and on the continent of Africa, these are caused by the Abrahamic religions. You want those people who are being mistreated and oppressed, justified by the Abrahamic religions, to then practice said Abrahamic religion? That doesn't make any sense, Anderson.
Yeah, I don't think that.
And you don't even practice the religion. These niggas going back to civil rights.
Now we're back at civil rights.
You're a fucking coon. I want you to know that you're a bootlicker. You're a coon, and you are an Anglophiliac. Look up. You like to look up the meta. You want to know the meta analysis? Look up the word Anglophiliac. That is what you are.
I get
you're obsessed and infantilized with fucking European.
I get it.
Anglophiliac, definitely.
That's what he is.
You can't call
this nigga's an Anglophiliac, man.
It's because we haven't culturally established a definition of what it means to be black, what it means to belong to being black. We doing all that now. That is in the process. So no, nobody talking black power. No, but the thing is, you on white nut so hard, cuz, and everybody could see it, and you act like, and you're young, right? It's a trip how black people don't see that. We can see that on us. I'm gonna say us. All right, I was say you us, whatever. y'all act like we don't see the sycophancy or hear it from you. The fact that you came in speaking ill of Africa, you were speaking ill of blackness. That was symbolic of that. Oh, and they don't have these cultures, and the Europeans did this. All right, and you didn't even know inoculation comes from Africa. You didn't know that. Pilgrims will tell you that. Oh yeah, black power religion. You never believed in black power. You definitely believed in religion. So don't even act like you're anti-black power. You were never no pro-black power, cuz, okay? Don't ever act like you was ever that.
That's
never.
What I'm saying. I'm not pro-black power.
Yeah, but you've been
pro-black power,
though, right?
Oh,
you're
not
pro-religion.
He's not pro-black
power.
He
don't have to be. He don't have to be. It's all good. You don't have to be. It's all good.
I'm pro-humans.
But see, hold up. Wait, bro.
I'm sorry.
Hold up, son.
I'm sorry.
I know you got to go for us. I know you got to.
I'm not gonna go. I'm let y'all go next. But this is what I gotta say, bro. This is as someone who's Haitian, and you're not black power, bro. What did Toussaint and Dessalines die for, bro? What did they die for? They are spinning in their graves right now. If you say that as a black person from the nation of Haiti, that is not pro-black power. We literally invited free African Americans to live amongst us. That's how black power we were. And you said that you're not pro-black power as
hey,
I don't even know.
I'm pro-human.
He might as well be from Great Britain, because if you look at the European countries today, they are not Christianity in Europe is going down, but they'll still advocate for like white supremacy and stuff like that. So even though he doesn't practice Christianity, he's advocating for black people to practice Christianity to help them cope with the white supremacy and
as a Haitian.
That is being caused by the Christians. This is Anglophiliac 101.
Here's the crazy. Hold on. Let me just get this out. Here's the crazy thing, bro. Our entire Haitian culture has always been about uplifting black people.
Look at his face. I can't even look at this nigga, man.
Like it's literally in our language. Like in our language, y'all. Do you know what we call strangers? Do we know what we call strangers in Haitian Creole? We call them blonds. You know what we call our friends in Haitian Creole? We call them neg, which root angle comes from Negro. We call our friends black and strangers white. It's baked into our language. And you're going to sit here and say that you're not pro-black? It's baked into our language. And you're saying that we're
turn your fucking camera off.
This is disgraceful, Anderson. Come on, you gotta do more of your reserch. You gotta do more research into African history. You gotta do more research into Haitian history.
You're pitiful.
Give me 1 second, Bar. Just give me 1 second. Hold on. Just give me 1 second, Bar. Just give me 1 second.
Can he cut his camera off?
I can't cut it off for him. I don't know if you can cut it off. I can't cut it off for him. But listen,
it's fucking disgrace. I don't want to look at this nigga, man.
Listen, Fat. It is being pro-black is not only part of our history. Hold on, being pro-black is not only part of our history, it's part of our culture. Everything that we do for Haitians is supposed to be pro-black. You cannot be Haitian and not be pro-black power. Our entire revolution was based on that. It's baked into our language. It's baked into our food. It's baked into the way that we have mannerisms around our people. Anytime a Haitian goes anywhere, the first thing you do is look for a black person. My dad taught me that. I know your dad taught you that. The first thing you do anywhere around white people is look for a black person. The first thing you do. And you're not pro-black.
I can't look at this nigga. I can't look at this nigga.
I look more. You know what's funny?
Compatible with me.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny? You know what's funny, Bar? You know what's funny, Bar?
It doesn't matter to me.
You know what's funny,
Hold
Bar?
on, Laura's talking to me.
You know what's funny, Bar? Is that y'all said all this shit to this nigga. Not once did he tell y'all you should be muted. Not once did he say that. This nigga scared of other black men. He let him tell them all kind of shit. Not once did that nigga ever say you need to be muted. I'm asking him for facts and peer-reviewed information. And that bitch said, well, could you mute her? This is why I be saying niggas be scared of other niggas, right? They don't want women to be scared of them, but y'all scared of them.
That was very, you know. You showed Joe.
You can believe he's scared. I'm gonna say that he whatever his source.
No, the nigga scared. Fuck that. Y'all always be trying to soften these niggas. He a scary bitch.
Wait, hold up. Now you interrupt me. Hold up. I wasn't done talking.
Because he tried to fucking silence me.
Rookie, hold on.
Hold on.
Go ahead,
He tried to silence me. And he didn't say a motherfucking thing to Bar. Bar called that nigga a coon. He called him all kind of shit. He didn't say nothing to fucking Bar. He didn't say shit to Bar. Nothing. I didn't call him one name. Not one. He said,
ask that nigga a question.
Muted. I asked that nigga a question. He want to silence me.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm not going to make my comment specifically about him. It's not about him. It's about his sources, the source of where he comes from, within what he presents that would be best for black people. The fact that
it's about him.
I don't believe that he's an atheist. I have a hard time believing that he's an atheist. He sounds like a weird Christian.
Look at his face.
That's what he sounds like. He sounds more like, as my German homie would say, a weird Christian. Atheist, a weird Christian, Schrogisch. And like, that's what you sound. That's what you come off as. The fact that and the type of Christianity that you're weird about is that from, you know what I'm saying, the European sector. You didn't even understand that within Africa, they had already had the systems prior to Europe. How did you come to understand the history of that? What you are saying that other black people are supposed to accept, whatever, but you don't know the history before it hit the source you learned it from. Like everything, it seems that everything that you learn only comes from white people.
So how do you learn about the history of?
But I disagree. I disagree. It's him. That's him. That's his character. That's who he is. He's an Anglophiliac at heart.
And the thing is,
it's not about his source. No, it's not about his source. It's not about his sources. It's not about his sources because I went with that shit he brought up. I went through it, and Loris read it for us. If you just go down to the conclusion, it tells you this is not. It's not saying what he brought it up to say.
Mm-hmm. And
the thing is,
he used it anyway. That's just dishonest.
Standing on atheistic principles. Yeah. So my whole point is,
it's not about being atheists. Can be coons and white supremacists and racists and all that shit too. That's him. There's nothing in atheism that say a person can't be a fucking Anglophiliac.
I ain't got no problem that this motherfucker is a sycophant of these white nuts. Let them do that. They got a lot of black people like that. I'm trying to figure out how is he standing on his logic square based off of him being an atheist. He don't sound like he's speaking from the no, it's not a butthurt.
Stop with the butthurt.
You don't sound like you're speaking from the perspective of a black atheist. You sound like you're speaking from the perspective of a black and anti-black Republican. That's what
I'm telling you. Well, hold up, and I'm talking.
That's a problem. That's a problem, Anderson. That's a problem.
You don't sound like an atheist.
I got you. Hold on. Everybody pause real quick. Everybody pause real quick. Yeah, you put human before being black. All good and well, right? We understand that we're all humans, right? Cool. You can do the whole colorblind thing. Hold on, wait. I got you. We could do the whole colorblind thing, right? But the fact of the reality is, in this society, in this Western country that you're living in, you are black before you are human. You know that. So sitting here talking about I'm human before I'm black, that don't do nothing to us. Being black in this society is political. You know that as much as I do. And if you don't know that, you better fucking learn. And you better learn real quick because them cops ain't gonna see you human before black. They're gonna say nigga, he's reaching for his gun, even though it's your wallet, and then shoot you. All right. This is all you. This is all you. And the thing hold up. Lord's brought up.
You also got black people. You got black people from here that don't see that. So you can't really use that as a measure, as a metric. Yeah, they're going to choose not to see the framework for how anti-black it is. The whole point is, if he's an atheist and he's promoting Christianity and he's promoting it specifically to Haiti, what is it that you got out of atheism that you don't think that Haiti could get out of it? Because obviously it served you in some form or fashion. So how could it not serve Haiti?
So that's a really good question. I guess I'll say I don't know the woman's name. I guess it was kind of unfair for me to say you her and not you the other people. And you're right, she didn't curse me out, cut me off. But I'll take that back as much as I could. So yeah, sorry about that. But now to answer your question directly, when I stopped being religious, I was telling literally everyone that I knew to especially black people, hey, this whole thing is just bullshit and it's just wrong. And you don't want to believe it. And it's just it's just not true. And and I'm just going off everyone that I know. But then what I realized was because some people's lives are really difficult, I don't want to pull the religion rug from beneath them because then when I do, I'll pull out too much of their worldview and I'll leave them spinning. I'll leave them spinning in a way that for whatever reason, it didn't affect me badly to not have that belief system. But for a lot of other people, I think that it can affect them in a way that makes their life much worse. And for me, that didn't happen because I care about what's true. And I just want to go with what's true, regardless of how it makes me feel. But a lot of people, they don't care about what's true. They care about what makes them feel good. So the first 10 years, I was just trying to make everyone deconvert. And then I flipped and I was like, you know what? Let me only talk to people who actually care about trying to make sense of religion. And the people that just love it because it makes them feel good, let me just let them have it because I don't want to, pull it from those types of people. And then when I thought about the people that I knew that lived in Haiti that were my family members, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. I wouldn't want to, have a conversation with them about religion. I know how hard their lives are because I know I don't have that type of hardship. So in some ways, Black atheists rants. I mean, you said a lot of stupid shit, but the one thing you said that is kind of true. There is kind of this sad view of it, right? Because I know it's not true. I know it's not really going to help their lives that much, but I'm going to like really advocate for them to believe in something, and it potentially could cause them to not improve their lives. And then they're going to believe in that thing. That's kind of messed up. It is messed up. And I'm not sure what to do about that, but I'm trying to find what solution creates the least harm. And at least so far, to me, it seems like to advocate being less religious for some people, and for other people not to advocate it. That's kind of how my views have evolved over time.
It makes sense that there would be degrees.
You said that I said a lot of stupid shit. Name one thing that I said that was stupid.
But he still never said how the religion helped these people.
Mm-hmm.
He said it don't. He said it doesn't help them.
So then what difference does it make if you take it from them?
That's what I was. That's what I've been
because
trying to
because that part is true. That part is true. The thing is, people have an anchor. What it is that people are anchoring to is bullshit. It is illusion.
But it's not an anchor. Y'all don't know fucking. Hold that.
I'm just
hold on.
To that.
Hold on. Hey, hold on. No, you niggas don't know fucking history. It's not a fucking anchor. If you can, I asked this guy. And I've been asking people this, but I would ask people.
I live it.
I would ask people if the Klan reformed and they built schools and community centers in black neighborhoods. As a black person, would you take your child to those community centers that the Klan is building so they can get those resources? Would you take your kids there? All the black people say, hell no, it don't matter what they do. I ain't taking my kids. This is the same thing. Religion, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam are what has those three are the driving justification for all the problems that have been caused in Africa and in these United States of America. You are saying that I want black people to give into the system that has led to the demise and miseducation of black people so that they can cope with the demise and miseducation of black people. That don't make fucking sense. And then on top of that,
not even that. What good is the anchor if the anchor keeps you mired?
The thing is, y'all don't want to acknowledge how lost. Y'all don't want to acknowledge how lost black people are, though.
What good is the anchor? What good is the What good is the anchor if the anchor keeps you mired in bullshit?
It ain't about it. It is not about it being good.
What good is the anchor
if
the anchor keeps? What good is the anchor if the anchor keeps you mired in bullshit? If the anchor keeps you held there in the bullshit, what good is the anchor if it just keeps you there standing in the bullshit?
Yeah.
It ain't about
waiting for you to die for somebody to pull it up.
It's about.
Hold on, son. Hold on, Rogish. Hold on, son. Give me, Rogish. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I just want Lords to finish what she said. Just give me 1 second, and I'm gonna let you go. Okay? Give me 1 second.
I'm just trying to figure out what good is having an anchor that keeps you mired in bullshit. If you was born neck up in bullshit, and they gave you an anchor and gave you the anchor, but didn't move you out the bullshit. They got some clean water right next to you, right? But they gave you an anchor and left you neck up in the bullshit. What good is the anchor? Let me drown.
It's not about it being good. It's not about it being good. It's about it. It's about acknowledging that is what they're connected to.
That's what we were talking about. I don't know if you know that.
I'm not done. I'm not done. I'm not done.
When you came on here, that's what we were talking about. We were talking about what good is it? I don't care. You're not talking about what I was talking about.
So wait a minute. Do you want to hear my answer or not?
No. Because my question to Anderson was, what good is the religion? That is what I was talking about.
You said anchor. I mentioned anchor, then black atheists cut me off the moment he heard me say anchor.
He never answered it.
And I didn't get to finish what I was saying.
When you came up here,
he was saying, I was talking and I got cut off.
My question is, what good is the religion if it does not help you?
You will get the answer if you mute and let someone talk beside yourself.
What good is the religion if it does not help you? And nobody has answered that question.
It's about acknowledging what people are connected to. Of course, they're connected to bullshit religion. They're connected to bullshit government. They're connected to bullshit culture. I'm not done.
Okay.
So if it's not,
but that don't even make sense. What you saying?
Y'all notice that y'all talking. I'm not done. How the fuck y'all doing this?
Hey, son. Hold on. Everybody, take a beat. Everybody take a beat. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, cool. Everybody take a beat. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and bring it down a notch. All right. So just to reiterate, Lord's question is, what is the good of the religion if it's mired in bullshit? Now, son, you did say that it's not about that. It's about acknowledging.
Y'all can't read.
Hold on, Rogish. I got you, Rogish. You said that it's about acknowledging what they're connected to, and that part is important. Is that what you're trying to say? Go ahead and finish your statement.
Yes,
that's not fucking important. That's stupid.
Why am I hearing this? The second time you said something stupid. Because you want to talk or what?
No, that don't fucking matter. What you talking about is
so you
actually
don't want
irrelevant
to say though.
Because you're bringing up something that's irrelevant to the conversation.
It ain't no irrelevant.
Yes, it is. You talking about it don't matter if it helps. It matter what they connected to. That don't fucking matter when we asking. When somebody's asking, how is the religion helping? Your response is, it don't matter. It's about how they connect. Nigga, what are you even talking about?
When you see that somebody,
what are you even talking about right now?
What are you even talking about? What happened with the fight?
Bringing up some whole separate shit that's about to take us this way. We ask you a separate question.
But I've been one my entire motherfucking life. We talk elementary years, and I've seen motherfuckers play up fights for bullshit that they protect.
Rogish, give me a second.
And if you notice, the nigga raised his voice to me, but not to motherfucking Bar. You old.
I raised my voice to all y'all cutting me off, girl. What the fuck you talking about?
Shit, fuck you, bitch, your mama.
Your ass will be silenced. How your man spoke silence your ass. You already got some type of feminist vibe on your whole ass anyway.
Oh yeah. We're not doing that.
Just mute him and say what you about to say, bro.
We're not doing that.
You ain't raised your voice to Bar not one time, you fucking coward motherfucker. You niggas is cowards. You niggas is fucking cowards.
Hey, listen,
you niggas is cowards.
Shut up, Anderson. Just speak.
That's why when the police kneel on y'all neck, I'll be on my fucking couch eating potato chips. You niggas is cowards. You niggas is some fucking cowards, bitch. You ain't tell that man nothing.
Shh, be quiet, please.
You had a problem with Lords, and your fucking mama should have swallowed you. You niggas is some fucking cowards. I don't cut for y'all at all. At fucking all. Cause you niggas is cowards. This nigga wanted me to mute. I didn't call him out his name once. He let Ball call him every name but the fucking child of God. Bitch ain't say shit. Y'all don't like black women because you don't like your fucking mamas. You mad at the fucking situation that whole born you in. And so you take it out on every black woman because you can't take it out on that hoe because either you need her money or the bitch dead.
Oh boy. I tried to bring it down a notch. I was trying to hear what my goodness.
I was trying to tell you to mute that nigga so you can say what you were saying because he just
Yeah. No, I was trying to bring it down a notch, but then we started going back and forth with the Lords, talking about I see some feminist shit in you, and he called her out her name. I'm like, nah, I'm dropping you. We ain't doing that. And you see, and
talking to his mama. Listen, I know one thing for sure and two things for certain. The shit these niggas tell me is the shit they want to tell their mama. They just can't. They don't like that hoe either. They come up here and tell us all kinds of crazy shit about their mama. They don't like that bitch either. But they go out and take it out on every other woman they see because they can't tell that hoe nothing because most of the time she dead. Or they don't fuck with her because she.
Hold on, Anderson. I got you because I'm gonna get out of here in about 5 minutes. But because that really always just tells me that this is, you know, within even the secular space within the atheist community, there's a lot of deconstructing that we still got to do.
I was trying to tell that I was trying to tell you to mute him so I can tell him, because he kept bringing up this atheist shit. I was trying to explain to him, just because this nigga's a black atheist, and just because you an atheist, that doesn't absolve you from the other shit that we got going on. That's what I was trying to tell that nigga or that nigga. I couldn't get it to him because he kept trying to. I don't fucking know. I don't fucking know. Being an atheist does not make it. Doesn't. You're not free from the rest of the shit that we have to deal with, deconstruct from, and learn, unpack and unlearn. You're not. That just means you don't believe in God. Okay, what the fuck else about you though? It's all this other shit. Clearly, we got a fucking Anglophiliac up here. He's fantasizing about white European shit. He think we primitive. He got other shit to unpack. Whether he believe in God or not, that nigga's he got some shit to deal with. But go ahead.
Oh man. All right. Yeah. It's about to get into 4 hours, so I gotta go ahead and get out of here soon. What was your last question, Anderson? So we can go ahead and get out of here, please.
Well, no. Can she ask me her question? Because I wanted to respond directly to her question, and I don't see her name on here. That's why I'm not.
Her name is Lords.
Lords. All right, Lords. What was your last question that you asked? Because it was a very pointed question, and I wanted to give it a response.
Oh, I don't remember, child. I don't remember what I asked you.
Well, because I mean, you talked about like the anchor. Like, what's the point of having the anchor? And
yeah, what's the point of what's the point of having the anchor if it keeps you mired in bullshit? You got bullshit up to your neck. You got quicksand up to your neck. Now listen, you're not sinking any lower, but you also can't get out.
Right. No, I agree with that. And I think too, like one is, that's what I'm saying. I think that the human condition is just really tough. And I think that you're right. It's insane, but it's that like a lot of people are going to believe false things and there's nothing we can do. So my thing is, again, do the thing that causes the least pain and allow them to continue with the false beliefs because it makes them feel better. But ultimately,
I know, but they also take those. They also take those.
I get it. That's sad, but that's the way the world is to me.
No, but they take those false beliefs into the ballot box. They hurt other people. Why can't we hurt them? They hurt other people with what they believe. Why can't we hurt them?
Well, I think that the second part would be, I think that in a lot of ways, Christianity can help.
I've been asking you to name a way since I got on.
I'm saying straight up. No, I'm saying straight up. I mean, things like the civil rights were promoted off the back of Christianity. Like Martin Luther King
do you think if Martin Luther King were not a preacher, he would not have done that?
That's a good question. I don't know. I mean, I'm agnostic to that. I don't know. I don't know if he was going to have the same umph in his speech. I mean, he was a pastor, right? That was a big.
No, but you think his speech is what you think? You think his speech is what did it? You think his speech is what did that?
No. His religious belief, his religious convictions, because of Christianity, I think that helped promote. That helped kind of build his message, like around, hey, whites are not greater than blacks are not greater than whites because we're all, child or like
you think so?
God and God.
Yeah, but Jesus didn't believe that. But Jesus didn't believe that.
I don't know if he's gonna.
Well, Anderson,
that was a big part of this.
No, because you don't think so. Or so are you saying that there were no Christians that died during the civil rights movement?
No, I'm not saying that.
But
you think there were no non preachers there?
Like, oh, you're right. You're saying like non-Christian. I mean, there were, but the head of the whole movement.
Yes, but that's what I'm asking. Do you think he did that because he was Christian or because he was black and it was affecting him negatively?
No. I think because he was Christian, it helped him have an anchor to promote his message. If you remove the Christianity from Martin Luther King, I don't know if you have the civil rights movement when you had it.
I know, but you don't know. That's what I'm saying. You don't know.
I know.
So you can't.
I'm saying we don't know. The evidence right now is going one way.
You can't attribute it to if you don't know. You don't know either way. Correct?
Well, we have some data. The data is he said, I have my beliefs largely because of Christianity and Jesus Christ. So we have that data point.
Okay, show me where that is. Because just now you said you're agnostic to it. You don't know either way. But now we have that data.
Can I just add something real quick? Okay, I'm sorry, Anderson. I'm sorry, Anderson Lawrence. Let me just add something real quick. Number one, within the civil rights movement, we understand the civil rights movement had people of all walks of life, right? The biggest ones was the Nation of Islam and the Southern Leadership Conference of Christian Leadership Conference, the SCLC, so led by Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. But you also had the Black Panthers, who were majority of them were non-believers. Right, so like this is what we're saying. It came from, and not only that, you had Marsha P. Johnson, who was part of the LGBTQ community. So you had all walks of life within the civil rights movement. So when we say that without Christianity, the civil rights movement still happened, I do believe that it'll still happen because it was affecting them, just like how Lord said, because they were Black. Now, MLK's entire philosophy, the thing that we do have data of is that what MLK had grounded his entire thing in humanism, or we are just grounding things in defense and power. We don't know either way, of course, but the non-violent pacifist one that we probably saw, it probably would have been something else. And the crazy thing about that is that pacifism was a strategy given to him by Bayard Rustin, who was a homosexual man who was not religious. You know what I mean? So his entire strategy could have still happened. Like, I don't think that it would have been something that wouldn't have happened just because MLK wasn't religious.
Yeah, that's very possible. Like, I don't disagree with any of that. Yeah, I think that you could ground it in some sort of humanism, and you could reach those principles without Christianity, but we didn't.
Yeah, it was Christianity that was used. Okay, I agree with that. All right, guys. It's about to get into 4 hours, man. Anderson, I'm gonna have to drop you. We gotta move on. I'm not sure. I think Lord's got a call. So, there she is. Lord, did you have any last thing before we go ahead and get out of here?
No.
Got it. All right, cool. Not a problem. All right.
Hey, no hard feelings, Lord.
Shut up. You still an Anglophiliac, nigga. That don't change you putting them above us, calling us primitive. You ain't called them primitive not one time, and they got civilization and culture from us. Shut up.
We're equal. I don't think they're above us.
No, we're not. I think we're not. No, we're not.
All right.
Go and read Stolen. Oh, I was about to give him something to go fucking read. Nigga, talking about some no hard feelings, and you just, boy, it is some hard feelings, nigga.
Yeah, sorry.
Because you cope for white people. You want proximity to them, not your own people. You call us primitive, nigga. Man, no, we ain't doing that. He probably got a picture of Trump on his wall. No, nigga, we don't know nothing about no apologies right now.
I fucking hope not. I really hope he does.
Show me what you. They say don't show. Show me what your Chat GPT search look like. Yeah, nigga. Then you see get an apology, nigga. I don't know what you searching up on the interweb.
Oh, man. Show you what your Chat GPT.
Why are white people more? I don't know what he's searching up, gang. Show me what you looking into, nigga. I don't know what he looking at.
Oh, man. All right, y'all. So we have 4 hours. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here, man.
Yeah,
all right.
Get out of here.
Yo, Willie, you too late, man. It's been 4 hours. Willie Jones, come back next time. I'm sorry, Willie. Come back next time, all right? But I do appreciate you, man. I do appreciate you. We're gonna go ahead and get out of here, y'all. Hey, he said, where the white women at? he might be one of those.
That's what Anderson said.
No, that's what Aaron said in the chat on TikTok. He said, "What a white women." Probably is that way. Hey, I do apologize that it got really, really contentious. I'm gonna I'll try to control that as much as possible.
Who the fuck was that? Who I don't know where that nigga came from.
Rogish, that nigga, yeah, I don't know where he came from, because he said he was a non-believer. I think his whole point was that, it's important what they connect themselves to, but I was gonna answer that just like how you were saying. That shit don't fucking matter, bro, because it's still bullshit. Yeah. No matter. And then he decided to call Lord out her name. I don't know why he did that for. That shit was crazy. Anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here, y'all. Y'all remember to follow Black Atheist Rants. Stream that album. The album is amazing. Make sure you stream that album. Make sure y'all following Lord's. Drop all those gifts for her as well. We're at 16K likes. I appreciate that, y'all. This is the end of my religion week. Next week, we're back on politics, and we're gonna talk about a whole lot. We're gonna talk about politics again. But anyway, I appreciate y'all. We're gonna go ahead and get out of here. Love y'all. Everybody say peace.